promise to help each other, celebrate the joys of life, and to console each other.
Hello. I am sorry, but I must interrupt this show. You know what it is? Hey, Ham, it's time, baby. Low, it's time how we do. Hey. They said we said we hit. They said we said we on. They said we said we strong. They said we said we go. We say that you heard right. 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 They said we said we hit. They said we said we on. They said we said we strong. They said we said we go. We say that you heard right. We say that you heard right. We say that you heard right. We say that you man, I swear that it's imminent. I've been going so hard on my pimpin' shit. About to go in and buy me a whip. And I pull that shit fresh off the dealership. I can leave you in red like an Xbox. Got me laughing at you like you red fox. Got you chasing Hot Wheels like a matchbox. EA running the game and it don't stop. Super cold like I'm playing for Blizzard. Got you all in my sights like Red Dead Redemption. Never gonna slip on my pimpin'. Better get out my way, bitch, I'm on a mission. Really ain't no competition. I'm steady grilling opposition. I'm get up and ready to win. They can play it how they play, but fuck what you say. I'm getting this money today. Last of us like a dying breed. Down the ride like a noble steed. Fatality moves, I make it bleed. That's on any game, that's on any screen. Shut up and give me your money. They said we so lit. Even if I take an L, we coming back just to show that we don't quit. They said we hit. They said we said we on. They said we said we strong. They said we said we go.
Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Ham he escaped the doctor's appointment. I've escaped the political situation in Mozambique for long enough for us to start the show. So welcome to the Lowdown episode 92. It's
episode yet.
It's our what?
I said it might be our quickest episode yet.
Might be. It might be our saddest episode, that's for sure, because but the potential game of the year, game of the generation, really, Concord has died for real this time.
It has. It's surprising because remember not that long ago we kind of had a little bit of faith that it might come back.
Yep. That's true. And obviously,
what is this bum in here?
At every eulogy,
he sent me an invite.
Why is he here? You
just sent me an invite.
I'm leaving earlier that you can replace me with this guy.
At every eulogy,
makes me
at every eulogy, you need to bring everyone in.
I think
right?
Matt needs to act like Concord and get the fuck out of here. How you doing, Matt? Good to see you, bud.
I'm doing pretty damn good. What's going on, guys?
Man, one more day. One more day.
Yeah, but Veilguard tomorrow. Let's go.
Yes, I'm excited.
Oh man, you know
Can't
what?
wait.
I'm happy that you guys are excited. That game, like I have no
I
interest,
can't wait.
like at all.
That's crazy.
But this is
Bad.
not this show is not about the preemptive death of a franchise. This show
Oh
is
my
about
God.
the actual death of a franchise.
Yep.
Anyways, Ham, how are you and what have you been playing?
I am doing good. I guess since the last time I was here, I haven't said this. I beat Metaphor.
Let's
that
go.
game is done and put away. I spent easily over 100 hours on that game, probably like 110.
Jesus.
But that's like all of like the BS that I went through, and then me redoing certain parts and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I had a blast with that game. That was really fun. The story was really engaging. I just I guess towards the end, I kind of like rushed a little bit. And I should have just kept on the same pace that I was throughout like that beginning half and everything. Because really, I got to the end of the game, and what happened is I just kind of ran out of items, and it's pretty much a stamina part at the end of the game.
Oh,
And if you don't have enough items to continue to make your guy, have, certain abilities, then you just kind of, you just run out of steam on the treadmill, essentially. You just fall and look like a fool. That's what it felt like.
Hmm.
But yeah, that game was great. I'm gonna leave it right at the 95. It didn't go up, didn't go down. It stayed right
Okay.
there the entire game, and I was happy about it.
At least the game's consistent. There was no
But-
real ups or downs.
But I will really be breaking it down and talking more about it. I'm gonna make a little video of it and post it up on Tuesday. I'll talk about it. No spoilers. It'll just be me talking about my thoughts, the game, what kind of aspects and things that it was hitting, and where it kind of fell short in some areas. I'll talk about it. No, without any spoilers. It'll be kind of nice.
I wouldn't mind spoilers.
I'm sure you
I
would.
don't- No, I'm being honest. Like the reason why I don't really mind spoilers that much for these types of games specifically is because I'm not going to play it anytime soon. So I probably won't remember the spoilers mid 2025 or 2026 when I finally play it. You know what I mean? It's like if you spoil Yakuza 7 right now, cool, it'll suck in the moment. But I'm still playing through Yakuza 5. By the time I finish 5, start 6, finish 6, and then do 7. Come on, bro. Like I do love Yakuza, but I don't love it enough to save all of that in terms of like story stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, the downfall of Shovelware Studio. Oh my God. Welcome in Vincent Vega, Ray Chi, nice and early. Matt, what have you been playing recently?
Just anything really to get me through to tomorrow. Literally just
What is
anything.
anything? What is that?
You're playing
You're
Quantum
playing Quantum Break.
Yeah, I've been playing Quantum Break a lot. Replaying it, I guess, because I've already beat it. But again, just trying to buy time until Dragon Age. I've beat Cyberpunk again, which I think I talked about last week, so I don't really need to go in depth on that. But I beat that again, and I've really just been playing Quantum Break, Witcher, and Control. What I've been playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
This
Just
man is
waiting.
waiting,
Bunch of mid.
just waiting for his beloved Veilguard.
I can't wait
That's
to
it's
play,
nice
bud.
to see. It's nice to see. All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes before Ham has to hop out of here. But I would like for you to tell me more about this Cyberpunk DLC that you finished, Matt, because I'm actually finishing. Well, I'm finishing all the side quests again for the third time in Cyberpunk, and then I'm going to start biting into the main story now, and then after that I'm going to go into the DLC. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Anyways, Concord, with us for such a short time, and we loved you. We loved you so much.
The first comment under this post is diabolical.
Yeah, but let's get into what they said specifically. Oh my goodness, Ham. All right, so Firewalk Studio says Firewalk is signing off one last time. Firewalk began with the idea of bringing the joy of multiplayer to a larger audience. Along the way, we assembled an incredible team who were able to. All right, so right there, bro. Like, do you know what incredible is? Because incredible produces incredible. This wasn't even decent. All right. This is the first mistake in this entire statement. Next, navigate growing a new startup into a team during a global pandemic. Excuses.
Yeah.
Already. It wasn't our fault. It was the coof. Firewalk was founded in 2018 and was very small for its first couple years, only entering full production in 2022. Build a new customized next generation FPS engine in Unreal 4 and then 5, delivering top tier gameplay feel, beautiful worlds, and a performant 60 FPS technical experience on a stable and scalable backend on PS5 and PC to hundreds of thousands of players in our beta. What? Hundreds of thousands? Come on.
Yeah, I think they meant hundreds and thousands.
Maybe.
Dude, these guys couldn't crack 1,000, Ham.
No, they did.
They got 2,300 in the beta.
That's why I said hundreds and thousands, not
Yeah.
hundreds of
They're
thousands.
2,300. Oh, hundreds of thousands. Come on, yo.
No. Like I said, hundreds and thousands.
And thousands. Sucks to suck, I guess.
Who just said? It's just thousands.
Yeah, you should have just said thousands. Manage an acquisition integration while readying technical. Oh my God! Poor us, we got acquired by the leading platform in console gaming in the world. Shut up! This is not even a reason to put up there and make it look like it's such a challenging thing. Dude, if PlayStation wants to acquire TSWS, we're going to stream even more. All right? Don't sit here and act like this was a challenge. And ultimately ship and deliver a great FPS. Come on. Really?
You read?
Great FPS. Okay. Even if it landed much more narrowly than hoped against a heavily consolidated market. Guys.
So right there, they're saying, hey, we're gonna put ourselves in the store for a very niche amount of people inside of a market that doesn't really do well with niche. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Oh my goodness. Like you guys could have called in Matt, and Matt would have told you like this is probably not going to do well. Y'all should probably.
That's like Reese's right now being like, you know what? We're gonna put ketchup on the top of all of our peanut butter cups now.
Yeah, fuck it. That's what we're gonna do.
We're just gonna go another direction with it. Just why not?
Oh my goodness. Next, they said we took some risks along the way, marrying aspects of card battlers and fighting games with first-person shooters. And although some of these and other aspects of the IP didn't land as we hoped, the idea of putting new things into the world is critical to pushing the medium forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll go back to this. Hold on. Where is it? This specific point here, this really pisses me off, but we'll get back to it. The talent at Firewalk and the level, the talent, right? The talent, because we are talentless, but they have talent. The talent at Firewalk and the level of individual craft is truly world class. The cap, dude. And the teams within Sony Interactive Entertainment and across the industry will be fortunate to work with them. Will they? Will they really? Please reach out to recruiting at PlayStation for inquiries, and thank you to all the very many teams and partners and fans who support us along the way. Very many. Yeah, I guess like 300 people is a lot, right? That's a lot. See you in the Tempest Firewalk Studios and transmission. So this got 11,000 likes. The first comment is on 8,000 likes, chasing the main post very, very hard. But
no, it's almost catching up.
Yeah.
Oh man, that post under it is diabolical. That's the first post that you see. After that heartfelt message, they get your pronouns are was were. That's nasty.
That's nuts.
It's just interesting how they put that there. I mean, that is really just kind of interesting, right? Look, I mean, am I crazy? Because it's just like
Dude.
they kind of had the whole idea of being like very open, and you know, and I don't think that's a bad thing, but like they made it very obvious.
They made it the main thing. No, you can make it obvious, Ham, but you can't make it the main thing. You understand? Because you can make a Blade movie with a black male protagonist, but Blade is not cool because he's a black male. He's not cool because he's diverse. Blade is cool because he's fucking cool, bruv. That's it. That's all it is. You can then put all the identity stuff on top of him after everyone has identified that this dude is cool as fuck. What happened with Concord is that they put the cart before the horse. Before you made it cool, you start putting in all this other stuff. And how do we know this? Because it's not cool. Because if it was cool, everyone would at least, okay, not everyone, because not everyone agrees that Blade is cool, but a large majority, enough to sustain you, would have jumped onto this. But what happened was everyone that played it, as soon as you turned it on, or as soon as you looked at the videos online, you could get that stink of, you guys came with your politics first, and then you tried to find something to wrap it around. That's when you're like, okay, how can we then, after we've come up with all this stuff on the board, now how can we make this into a video game? When they should have done it the other way around. First, make an awesome game, make awesome characters, and then inject your politics, which is what I was saying about Dustborn a couple of weeks ago. It plays just fine, and I love games that are designed like Dustborn, like story heavy, decisions matter type of narrative games, like the Telltale games. I love those games. They also have their own agendas and politics, but first and foremost, they made me want to play the game, and then they put their stuff in, which is fine. But you can't put your stuff in and then try and make a game. It's obvious. It comes off very, you know what it feels like. And I don't know if you guys can follow, will agree on or with me on this one. But when you're doing math, there's people that will get a calculator and then they'll calculate the result. Right? They'll put in the equation on the scientific calculator, and then they'll put in the result. They'll get the result, and then they spend the next hour trying to figure out how to put the calculation, how to show that they got the calculation normally. But this is because they already got the result. But someone, and then you can see that they worked from the result going back up on the equation because of how it's structured. You can just see it like, oh, okay, this guy got the result first and then he started working through it. But someone that does the math the right way, which is going from top to bottom and actually working through the equation, you can tell that they did it properly. That's how those are the vibes that I got from Concord. These guys, they had their result, they had their end result, then they started working backwards to be like, okay, how can we make this make sense? And that's when it all went to shit. Oshus, welcome, Oshus. How you doing? What you been playing?
I know, all good. So I've been playing a lot of Black Ops 2. Actually, not just Black Ops 6. Not just Black Ops 6. I've been also just revisiting Black Ops 1, 2, and 3. So that's been keeping me busy over the weekend and early this week.
All right. We're gonna get into that later.
Cool.
Matt, am I crazy with my explanation? Hey, yo, Danny, welcome. Am I crazy about my expectation? Oh, sorry, my explanation of how it seems like they were working from the end of the movie or from the end of the equation, and then they were working backwards instead of working from the from the beginning to the end?
I don't know what, because I didn't like. I mean, I played all of my experience with Concord was really just the beta. I certainly didn't buy the full game, so can't really speak on that. But I don't know. Like, to me, it was a fine FPS game. The problem that, like you mentioned earlier, Matt could even tell you guys what you guys did wrong. Literally, if I could talk to them, the thing I would say is what you should have done, first of all, change the art style. And then somebody at Sony needs to get in trouble for making that game $40. I don't know who, but somebody does. I don't like the art style. It's like going for photorealism, but it's like if Overwatch was photorealistic, and it looks kind of gross, honestly. And then on top of that, like I said, the $40 to and they said it in their post, an oversaturated market. I mean, they didn't mention the fact that the oversaturated market is filled with free-to-play games that are just as good, if not better. So I don't know. I just don't know what the expectation was given the decisions that were made for this game. I just don't know what they expected to happen. Like, did they expect 100,000 players? Did they expect like the next Apex Legends or Fortnite or something? Like, what were your expectations given the decisions that you made? Because I don't see it.
The next Star Wars.
Yeah, which is nuts. Because again, the decisions that you made. It's like I can say I'm making the game. It'll be the next Star Wars. It'll be the next, I don't know, God of War. Like, it's not going to be if I don't make the right decisions. And they made a lot of really weird decisions along the way of making this game. So, unfortunately, like, I don't love seeing a studio get shut down, but unfortunately, that's kind of the repercussion. Is a studio get shut down because of bad decisions. You know, it sucks, but yeah, it's what it is, I guess.
I don't mind the studio getting shut down. Honestly,
I don't
think
love
it sucks. I kind of ship it. I ship it,
Okay.
and I'll tell you why I ship it. Because we should reward success, and we should always reward failure.
Yeah.
And for me, the way I see it is, you know how, like, Doc Rivers, this guy was successful with the Celtics.
Just a horrible coach. Yeah. Continue.
But he was successful with the Celtics, right?
He is a great coach.
Sure.
Goated coach.
That coach, he's the most overrated coach in NBA history. He got like 4 Hall of Famers and won 1 championship, and everybody's like, "Wow, he's amazing. He's an incredible." No, he's not.
He's great.
He's one of the most mid coaches in sports history, and people talk about him way too much. All right, continue, Luke.
Oh my God,
This man is a good coach.
No, he's not. Dude, they fired the Bucks coach who was better than him, and now the Bucks are worse. So explain. But continue, Luke.
Great coach. He got the job over the guy that got fired because he better.
Oh my goodness. Anyway,
That's why he's worse. Yeah, continue.
Going back to my analogy, right?
Let's get back to it.
Doc Rivers had success with the Celtics. For 1 year, he won a championship. He had 4 All-Stars, 4 Hall of
Hall of
Famers.
Famers, yeah.
In one of the worst seasons in the East, but no one cared. After he won that, right? He had 3 or 4 seasons with the Celtics that the team was actually, like, objectively bad. But he didn't lose his job. Why? Because he had the cachet. But he had the cachet, right, from his past success, and he didn't immediately lose his job.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, all of
but
his
he
past
did
success.
eventually lose his job. And I think the same way with sports, I think life functions that way when it comes to work. All right? If you have success, you create a buffer. So as it stands, like right now, From Software can release maybe 2 or 3 bad games. From Software, if they do that, they can right now they can release 2 or 3 bad games, in my opinion, and people wouldn't be like, give up, shut the doors, because they've created that cachet of like, no, these guys are they when they want to, these guys can cook, all right, but no one's perfect. Firewalk Studios had no cachet. I know it sucks to say, when you don't have cachet, you do have to pay the price for failure. Whether that's scaling back. Let me finish. Whether that's scaling back your sequel, or in this case, when you spend almost $500 million and don't last a month, I think it's fair for them to get shut down. I think it's fair because I'm not the guy that says when things go great, you should get the rewards. Or when things go terrible, oh no, we shouldn't give them the consequences of failure. I don't think that's right.
Look, I think you must have misunderstood me. I don't believe I ever said that I'm shocked they got shut down. I don't believe I ever said that, like, who saw this coming. I didn't say that. I just said, it sucks, but it is what it is. That's my whole stance on it.
What I'm saying is that it doesn't suck. What I'm saying is,
I'm telling you that I think it sucks, but it is what it is. You're saying it doesn't suck. That's totally fine.
Yeah. I was just explaining why I ship it. That's all I was doing. I was just explaining why.
Hey, that's totally.
I'm here with pom poms. I'm here with pom poms right now.
I'm just saying, Doc Rivers has a great history.
Doc Rivers is a terrible coach,
and I'm here to tell you that he ranks 8th in all-time coaching wins and 4th in playoff victories all time. Just saying.
I wonder how many championships that's translated to.
Also, did you know, Ham, that Doc Rivers holds the record for the amount of 3-1 leads?
Yep.
Lose in the playoffs. Did you know that?
Yeah, because he's a great coach.
So he's an
amazing coach.
So he's the LeBron James of coaching.
Well, LeBron came back from 3-1. Doc Rivers didn't come back from 3-1. He blew 3-1.
Oh my goodness.
He's like the 2016 Golden State Warriors of coaching.
So he's great.
No, he's not.
Still an all-time. I mean, that's still an all-time team that's talked about.
Yeah, but they the only reason people talk about the team is because they're the only team in the NBA Finals history to blow a 3-1 lead. Nobody remembers that 73-9. I don't. No. Nobody cares.
I remember it because I remember.
I'm sure you do, bud.
Mike Johnson, welcome in.
I gotta hurry up and do my take on this topic before I gotta go. I gotta leave in 7.
All right, hold on. The Elemental Hero, the Shadow Link Dragon, welcome. Stanley Francois as well, welcome in, bruv. Ham, go ahead.
I said this on Matt's show yesterday, and
plug it. What's the show?
Yeah, so he had a show at a different time than he usually has it. He had L3R3 podcast that he does on his channel, Matt Likes Games channel. He does that every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, I believe.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, he did it yesterday because they missed out on Monday, and they were talking about this very topic, and they were talking about making kind of like what they were saying in the post just a moment ago, where they made a decent game in a pretty because we're about to leave. Let's see. They made a game in a market that was already pretty stoked up, right?
Yeah.
So, and then after I heard Matt say that, I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. The whole thing is like, you can't make a good game or a okay game in that market, right? And then on top of that, the amount of money that they spend was crazy for, right?
Yeah.
So if their idea of making a game is they wanted to make a game that was okay for a set amount of people, then I want to blame Sony a little bit on this. Y'all should have gave them okay money. If that was their plan to make an okay game, then you should have spent okay money. But y'all didn't. Y'all spent Spider-Man money on a game that y'all weren't quite sure was good for most people. And I'm not out here saying make a game for everybody, because then it's for nobody, right? But their whole thing, it's ironic that they're saying what they're saying now, because prior, the reason they made the game was because it was for everybody. So it doesn't. So they're not making any sense right now, is what I'm saying. It sounds like they're just kind of backtracking and saying whatever they can say to kind of save some face as they walk out of the door. But I could have swore the whole reason behind them going the direction that they did with the characters and everything was because they were trying to be for everybody, but they failed. And now they're trying to say, hey, we were just for the ones that like us. And it's like, well, the ones that like you was like nobody. That's all I really got to say, bro.
Yeah, so you have to expect it, guys. I'm sorry. Everyone gets what they deserve, all right? 9 times out of 10. Obviously, life is unfair. Sometimes
Mike says the amount of money was debunked. So maybe it wasn't 400 million, but it was at least 2. But it was at least 200 million. We knew that. That's a lot of money.
Wait, was it?
No,
because I thought that what happened. Yeah, what happened was the marketing and all that other extra stuff was 200 million, and then add to that the development of the game. It sounds like Colin's report was right.
It was right.
That's what I got from that. I mean,
right or wrong, 200.
From my understanding, I think it was.
Doesn't matter. That's crazy now.
Everything cost 200 million together. I don't think it was 400. So it's probably 200 million plus, but nothing in the range of 400.
It was 400. Hope
it was quite the studio, the IP, and do some marketing. Then yeah, I think it was 200 plus.
I know I saw something about people having to apologize to Colin because apparently people were saying, "Oh, Colin's capping," and then new news has dropped, and apparently Colin was not capping. Also, welcome in, Tae. Welcome. What have you been playing? And how you doing? Yago 6. Welcome.
Still playing Metaphor. Still a good game. And that's kind of it, to be honest. It's just one of those ones where you just kind of you can't really be doing anything else, really. Sure, you can play a FIFA match here and there, but when it comes to single player games, I can't juggle, so it's just Metaphor for now.
All right, Ham's finished it, so
yeah, you put like 100 hours. Sorry, 80, 70 hours, is it 60?
I put like my save, my completion save says like 89 hours. But I'm going to say I put like 110, 115 because I had to go back in that save and go from like 68 hours back to 88 hours, like 88 hours again. So like I put in at least 110, 120 hours, somewhere in between there, where I would say I actually put it.
All right.
I got to get out of here though, Luke. I might as well just do my sign out.
All right. Plug what you want to say, man.
So tomorrow, me and Mads Gaming, you know who that is at all? Does anybody know who that is?
Yeah.
Yep.
Me and him are going to be on this channel. We're just going to talk a little bit about Xbox for about an hour tomorrow, and then we'll be out of here. We're just talking about some of the new news, some of the stuff that Satya said in his last press meeting or conference or whatever the hell you want to call it. And we'll just kind of talk about thoughts and whatnot from there. It's going to be a pretty short show. Like I said, about an hour max. So we'll be pretty much in and out. But I'm going to start trying to do that on Thursdays, just like bring somebody random from somewhere have a conversation about probably Xbox for the most part. But yeah, that is what I'm doing tomorrow.
Have a good one, brother.
Yeah, you guys have a good rest of the show. Thanks, Taye, Ashis, and Matt, or not really Matt, but but thanks everybody for coming out here.
Damn.
I appreciate everybody in the chat as well. I will see y'all tomorrow if y'all slide through. Other than that, keep it gaming or keep it moving. Deuces.
Yes. Yago 6, there's definitely, what you mean there's no saving face? Of course there's saving face. Go on social media. No one's talking about, everyone is coping. Everyone is talking about other stuff. Everyone is deviating the topic. Everyone is talking about, no, it was just 200 million. 200 million is nothing, etc., etc.
The 200 million is definitely something, bud.
Everyone's coping. If this was Xbox, right? But Matt, the way we are going in on it on TSWS, if this was Xbox, we'd still be doing the same thing. We'd be doing the exact same thing. But if you go online, people aren't keeping the same energy. Let's be real.
No, I don't know, dude. 200 million is definitely something, no, because the reports. Remember when Spider-Man 2 came out, and they said it was like 300 million or something like that, 250, I think. I can't remember. But then they also reported compared to the Spider-Man 2018 budget was like 90 million. Buddy, 200 million is something. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of cash. A lot of cash. Anyways, Oshis, sorry, what do you think was the main issue? What and if you had the superpower to be in the boardroom meeting when they first unveiled this, and they were like, "What do you think? What do you think could have rescued this game?" Besides not releasing it. Don't be a douche.
I was about to say, I think just don't release it. But I'm like, again, it's the same thing I said in one of my videos, which is, who is this game for? You sort of need to stop making games for a market that doesn't exist. This is not rocket science. This is pretty straightforward. You need to decide who's going to play your games. There's a lot of ways you decide this. You either decide this by ensuring that you either have an existing audience that's expressed interest in this idea, or you have an existing franchise that people are interested in. And then you go with that and say, okay, cool. So are they going to be open to this? This thing of targeting this non-existent audience that's just going to miraculously appear out of thin air and then buy your game, well, good luck with that. This game could never be saved because it was for no one. First of all, most PlayStation players, outside exceptions like Helldivers, don't really give a crap about multiplayer games. Even if it was on Xbox, maybe you would have
what? Whoa. FIFA, Madden.
That's not, that's not true.
Call of Duty.
I'm not talking about
most of the online players. Most of the online players
on console is PlayStation. Let me finish.
All right.
Coming from Sony, from first party, they already have all those games. They already have.
Those players don't care about first party.
Well, most players that buy Sony's games do care about first party. Otherwise, those games wouldn't be selling.
Most players that buy PlayStation don't care about first party.
I agree with that, but I'm talking about players that buy Sony's games.
So a very small fraction of players.
Yeah, yes. Well, the rest of the players are not going to play that. Why would they buy a Sony? Why would they buy a Sony multiplayer game, especially a battle royale like shooter type game from Sony, who has never made such a game before? There's a specific market or audience for Sony's games. For all those AAA, whatever, they didn't do enough to get that audience to buy in. If this was for instance, say a Factions, there would have been a market for that because there was already an established market for that. So people would have bought it. So my question again is, who was this for? There's no audience that expressed interest in Sony releasing this type of game, especially with characters that nobody cares about, that they've never seen before. All the other stuff like the design and whether or not the market is oversaturated, all that stuff is afterthought in terms of them releasing a game like this. You can have a success, you can experiment, but then you do a smaller project like Helldivers 2. That's coming from a studio that's done this before, so there is an audience there. And then you nurture it from there. You don't go all in with 400 million. And this is your first rodeo. So again, who was like get a target market to know who they are, and then focus all your attention in developing an experience that they'll be interested in. It's as simple as that.
Oh, and also, sorry, I forgot because me and Matt were going back and forth. Oshas, how do you feel about this? Like me, I'm happy that the studio got the recompense for their hard work. Matt is not happy about the outcome.
No, I'm
in
saying
terms of them
I'm
getting shut down.
indifferent. I'm indifferent. I
You don't care.
I'm not disheveled. I'm not in hysterics because the studio that didn't make a good game got shut down. Like whatever, that happens. But I'm like, at the same time, I'm not gonna cheer from the rooftops that you're dead. Like I'm pretty indifferent to the whole situation.
No one's
honestly.
dead. No one's dead. All right.
No, I'm talking about
No
the studio.
human being
I'm talking about the
died.
studio. I'm talking about the studio.
Oh, the studio. All right.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna cheer that you're a dead studio, but I'm also not. I'm not crying about it. You know.
Yeah. All right. So, Oshas, how are you feeling about it? Are you happy about this outcome? Are you upset?
Cautious. Hello.
You guys still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know what happened.
That's just on local gun. But I can see that the screen is loading as well, so maybe there's an internet connection.
Could be. I don't know what's going on.
Okay,
Oh,
Oshus
we
is
lost
gone now.
Oshus.
And it seems we might lose Loke as well.
We might. Oh man, what's going on? I'm about to send Loke a message real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, there goes Loke.
Oh, just mean you running the show. Is the chat still working though?
Is the chat still working? Is the chat still working? Let us know in the chat if this thing is even still up. Texas got another brownout. Vincent Vega. Loke's in the chat. I can see Loke in the chat. You better get back in here, Loke. Udani Kazada says Sour Blow. Yeah, we're still up. We gotta get Loke back in here.
Yeah.
Might have to restart the stream. That might be a thing we have to do.
Yeah, I can imagine so.
We might have to do that.
So you played Concord for a little bit. Now you said it was gameplay wise.
I played the beta. The beta, it's a good feeling FPS game that just aesthetically just feels kind of generic. Just because it's very photorealistic. I think it would have benefited them at least a little bit to do like a art style like Dishonored on Concord, just because more stylized game, it would make the characters look more or less disgusting, I should say, because a lot of the characters just kind of look gross. But
like is it like in that like uncanny valley kind of place?
Yes, it looks like they tried to make a hero shooter with like just hyper realism, but like it's like hyper realism, but there's like a character that's like some weird furry alien, and then there's like this gigantic monster of a character that looks like something out of Overwatch, but it's just it looks like the gross ups from SpongeBob, kind of. I don't know if you remember that, like the close up shots that were like extra gross from SpongeBob. It looks like that.
Okay.
It looks like that. So I guess Asha says the chat just came back, so maybe it was down for a minute. I don't know. Either way, we got to get Loke back in here. Asha, do you need another invite? Let me know in the chat there, bud.
Loke says to be right back.
All right. So Loke will be right back. Shawblow says it's never been down. All right. Well, I don't know how to continue the topic on. I mean, outside, have you played Concord?
No, so I haven't played it myself. I'm not really a shooter kind of guy. Even the only shooters I play is Halo Infinite, and I just play that when I'm on the phone to a friend, and I'm just need something to just shoot away. I'm the guy in your squad in Halo that clearly isn't really paying attention and is giving the enemy free kills. So I'm not the best. But in relation to what happened with Concord. 200 million plus. Listen, there's consequences to these actions, and this was going to be one of them. So there's no like I'm in the same boat as you. It's not like I'm happy or sad. It's just like it is what it is. There's consequences to these actions, and you don't that somebody owns that money. That's somebody's money, and it's not a case of hey, listen, we just want to shut it down for whatever reason. It's more like you don't understand. We don't want to give you any more money. Now, if you want to go find a different publisher, you want to go find a different owner, that you could go do that. But there's no one who's gonna probably trust our studio again. You don't burn 200 million and then somebody gives you another 200 million. It doesn't work that way. So I'm quite indifferent as well to it. And I know, listen, some of the employees there, they've been moved on to Sony's other games. I think maybe the unfortunate thing is like there's a level of opportunity cost here that I think it's good to note. Would it have been better if they just re-released the game as a free-to-play and just change the characters and try to fix it? Clearly at some point they probably looked at that option and they felt it wasn't worth it, so in the end they just decided to cancel the whole project. But it's kind of I was gonna say it's kind of crazy that you spend hundreds on a game and you don't release it. But then when you think about it, this happened as well with EA. Didn't they release like an NBA game that they actually sent out, and then because of due to quality, they just pulled it. And apparently, even like I was listening to Tom Henderson's interview recently, and he says like Ubisoft make games and these games get cancelled 4 years in. And 3 years in, and that's 100 million gone already. That's 150. So I don't think this is not necessarily a normal thing. Even Square Enix, they mentioned that, hey, listen, we're canceling all these titles that we've been working on, and the reason why we're canceling them is because it's just going to hurt us to actually release it. So while Concord probably
all the devs, all the publishers you just cited are a bunch of failures.
Nah, I mean, failure is a strong word. What do you mean? Like, who are we comparing them to? If you mean to like Take Two,
themselves, to themselves. All the guys you just brought up, their stocks have tanked. Their recent releases have not done as well as their previous title. So I guess this is like an indication.
But I think it comes in cycles, though, right? I think these publishers they grew exponentially from like 2012 to 13. Like the industry grew large. A lot of new players joined, casual players joined, females joined, kids joined with the Wii. Like everybody it was just a massive bubble that was going to burst at some point. But even though we say things like they're all failing, I don't even think that's true. I think what's happening is some of them are doing better than others. Like Ubisoft, for example, right? I think they just released a financial report, and some of their games are doing really well. They just said Rainbow Six Siege literally has made like billions, right? Like if Rainbow Six Siege was an actual sellable game or whatever, I can't remember what the quote was, but it's one of the highest grossing games that they have. That's a live service game that they released in 2017. Till this day, that game is like making them bank. For Honor has great engagement till this day. Assassin's Creed Valhalla was the best-selling Assassin's Creed game. Assassin's Creed Mirage was in line with all the other games. However, within those successes, they've had a few flops, like Outlaws, right? And I think the thing is, because we love negativity, because we love to laugh at people failing and falling apart, we hyper focus on those things, right? So, for example, people talk about Concord. They'll say, "Oh, Concord, Sony's failing, blah blah blah." We told you. But in the same breath, you have Astrobot coming out. Like, which one is it? Like, are they a good company? Are they a bad company? Are they not making games for you? Or are they making games for you?
So if you have some successes, we shall ignore the failures, the gigantic failure. You made a tiny little success with Astrobot, 200+ million. Don't mention it. It's nothing.
Well,
that's where we're at right now.
Well, no, because
you failed with all these other games. Ubisoft.
PlayStation is dog shit. Confirmed by Loke 2024.
No,
Let's go.
That's not what I'm saying.
That's
not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying, Matt. What I'm saying, Matt, is that just
I know what you're saying. Look, you don't got to explain to me,
just because you win a couple of games in the season,
you let them know, brother.
Mean you've had a good season.
Yeah,
well, if I was to say did somebody have a good season, right? The question is, how do you want to evaluate it? Do you want to evaluate from a gaming perspective? Because if you're going to evaluate from a gaming perspective, which is all that we should really care about primarily. Now, if we're going to analyze it, we could do that again. But from a game perspective, you don't get Stellar Blade, Wukong, Astrobot, Helldivers 2, Grand Blue Strategy, Final Fantasy Rebirth, Rise of Ronin, The Last of Us remake, Silent Hill remake, and then you get Concord, and you say, well, no, it's a fail of a year. They're giving you like 8 exclusives that are all ranked in the 80s. And 90s. That's not a failure. That's a success from a gaming perspective, right? Now, you want to talk about finance.
Let me bring down this. Let me bring it down. Sorry, you're right. Let me remove this thing about Concord. It's not even a topic, right? Like let's not talk about that. It's fine. PlayStation's fine, right? With 200 million was not lost. Everyone, just ignore the giant steaming pile of shit in the corner. Right? Here's Astrobot.
Well, yeah. Well, how do you want to look at it from a financial point of view, from a gaming point of view? Because from a gaming point of view, here's what I always say. Yeah, when it comes to just games, I don't have time to look at shitty games. There's just too many good games out there for me to like. I could look out like from this year alone. I haven't played Stellar Blade. I haven't played Wukong. I haven't played Astrobot. I haven't played Helldivers 2. I haven't played Grand Blue. I haven't played Final Fantasy Rebirth. I haven't played Rise of Ronin. I haven't played Silent Hill Remake. Why am I focusing on Concord? You know what I mean?
When did this become about PlayStation?
Sorry?
When did this discussion become about PlayStation?
When you went on your anti-PlayStation rant, Loke,
I
was
didn't.
cheering you on.
I didn't. I was responding. No. I was just responding to his pointing out about Ubisoft and EA and all these other guys. Bruv, 200+ million down the drain, and you're down here talking about Astrobot. What are we doing?
I'm saying so from a gaming point of view.
Disney has got an issue with freaking The Acolyte, right? But because they released a Mickey Mouse movie that makes 500 million. Let's not talk about The Acolyte. Is that the logic that we're going with here? Like, I'm trying to understand here. Because my question, right, before I fell off the link here, my question was, Oshis, are you happy? Are you sad? Or are you indifferent about the shutting down of this studio? I'm assuming that when I came back, you were specifically talking about whether you're happy, sad, or indifferent about this whole thing, but you're bringing in a whole bunch of other publishers, and I'm trying to understand the logic here.
Oh no, me and Matt were just having a conversation about games in general.
Yeah, we were just talking.
We're waiting for you guys to come through.
You guys fell out.
So I can answer your question.
Oshis.
It's pretty.
Yeah, go ahead, Oshis.
Well, for me, I'm overjoyed. I'm jumping up and down and I'm doing cartwheels that it failed. And it's because of where we are in the gaming industry right now, between for the first time, the studios and the media seem very, how can I say, they know who they care about or who they pivoting to a lot of the time. And again, we talk about these modern audiences and people throw that word around. So again, this is another game that had no one like me in mind when they were making it. They were clearly making it for whoever plays, to Matt's point, that a lot of people on PlayStation, on Xbox, on all these platforms, mostly play games like Fortnite, FIFA, etc., etc. So they thought, you know what? We can get them with some of that AAA stuff. We can bring them to our side and we can get those guys to buy this game. So again, this is a game that had nothing to do with me. I was not a person that was ever a target or consideration. So hey, in that respect, I'm indifferent. But at the same time, what they're doing is they're taking resources from games that they would have made for people that care about the things that I care about, or the audience that I care about, who have supported them, mind you, to this point. and those resources are now being redirected to these games that we never asked for. So in that respect, I am jumping for joy, and I'm glad that this happened. All these failures are happening, and there's another one coming tomorrow. And that one's going to give us content for the next 3 to 6 months. It's like how monumental
wait for that
thing.
game.
I'm so
and then
opposed to
everybody
like
has-
Ush's point, just because
Ush's like,
Well,
I
let
was
me
with
finish,
you.
let me
I was
finish,
with
man.
you. I was with you until
But
you said I'm happy to see these failures.
I didn't
I'm
say
not happy
whatever
to see
game. But I'm like, I'll say this. I'm like, to me, like, why do I care? Like, why should I not be happy? Because again, you made this
Seems a
decision. I'm
little
not in the
dumb.
boardroom
Well,
when
check
you
it out,
guys made
Vince.
this.
Go ahead, Ush's.
Like, okay, sorry. What's up?
No, go ahead.
I was like, when you guys were making these decisions, you clearly made it clear that we don't give a crap about you. Yeah, you bought our last thing, and you'll probably buy this thing because you buy whatever. If it's got a Sony logo on it, or it's got a Ubisoft logo on it, you'll buy it because, we've got you. And they're learning slowly but surely that they don't have that audience anymore. People have choices. I will continue to support developers that, make the kind of games that I care about. And just like the media does a lot of the time, in terms of the people who care about the things that I care about, ridicule and make fun of them, I'm happy to do that as well on their expense.
Which I think is fair. But I did hear you.
Well, I
the
just think
first
it's a
time
bit
that
closed, though,
when-
right? Because
You're
if you like, the industry is quite large, right? And I think there's enough space for everybody. When it comes to growth, the reason why it grows is because you have to find new audiences. There's no way. Like GTA is GTA, not because it's stuck to its users of Vice City or Grand Theft Auto 3. No, it grew into something much bigger. They added all these new elements to attract more people, and that's one of the biggest games out there. So whenever you want to grow, you're gonna have to take chances. You're gonna have to experiment. I don't expect Sony to just be the third person console maker. Same. I don't expect Nintendo to just be the happy go maker. I expect them to branch out. And listen, we've seen that with Xbox. I don't think Xbox fans really cared about Flight Simulator, but boom, 50 million players. I'm sure Bethesda fans probably didn't really care about a Fallout 76 kind of games. Boom, 20 million plus players. I'm sure Xbox players didn't ask for Minecraft, like 140 million plus active play. Like, it doesn't just stop with a particular consumer. You can satisfy that consumer, and then you can expand outwards, and that's perfectly fine. I don't think we need to, gatekeep games to our particular interest, right? Like I have no interest in Football Manager whatsoever. I don't wish Sega fails because I don't like that game, because there's probably a market out there for it. There's probably someone like Loke who loves that game, and that's perfectly fine. Now I could say, well, if that game fails, then Sega's going to focus on me, and I could get Persona 5 faster. But I don't want an industry where I'm only catered to.
No, that's not my point. That's not my point. And this is another thing. I'm not a online multiplayer FPS type of guy. I'm not. That's not who I am. And my main criticism of Concord is not even that it's not made for me. My main criticism is that it's not good. How do I know it's not good? No one plays it. That's how you gauge a online multiplayer game. But and that's why when a lot of people are talking about, oh, woke this, woke that, dude, this thing could have had pronouns out the wazoo. If it was good, no one would give a crap. No one would care. Because gamers, you know what we do? We play good games. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's not like Osher said. It's not rocket science. It's very simple. Make a good game, and they will come. And if you make a good game, we will reward you with money and a platform for you to make a sequel, 10 sequels, 20 sequels. And in your rant there, Ty, talking about GTA and evolution and all this other stuff, dude, you forgot to add there, right? You forgot to add a little point there that all of these GTA games, they were good. You forgot to add that little part there.
No,
They
but see,
just,
I'm not
let's
talking
stick
about
stuff in
games
there.
being good or not. I'm talking about games being made for a different audience, right? And I'm saying, like, I understand why a company might want to expand. They might want to try new things. Like, no one would have ever thought that Rare would have made Sea of Thieves. I'm sure everyone was thinking, like, go back to GoldenEye, go back to Banjo. Why are you making a pirate game that's cartoony looking, especially for the Xbox? Like, we are the hardcore shooter fans, but boom, like 20 million players later. That's what I'm saying. Like, if we had this mindset, then Sea of Thieves wouldn't have happened. In fact, you don't get many of these experiments with these kind of games. I don't even know if you get a Astrobot if you have this mindset, because what PlayStation fanboy is looking at Astrobot when you got The Last of Us, Horizon, when you got, the third person action shooter, gritty PlayStation fanboys. Like, you gotta experiment. Like, Astrobot is cut from the same cloth as all these other games. It's about experimenting and seeing, what's up there, what's out there. Now, you might not sell millions, you might not, appease your core audience, but you're gonna gain new ones, and that's perfectly fine. I don't think that's an issue. I wasn't referring to the game's quality being good or not. I was referring to the company trying new things, right? Nobody. Go on.
What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter what you're trying. No one gives a fuck about innovation. People care about entertainment. People think innovation, and this is another thing. And I remember I highlighted it in the tweet by Firewalk. Where is it? Did I highlight it? God damn it! All right, let me put it up there, because I don't want to make it sound like I'm pulling it out my ass. I think people are missing the entire point of innovation, and maybe not even just innovation, but people are missing the point of priorities. All right, you have to eat your meat and potatoes, and then you can add your asparagus, right? You can add your foie gras and all this other extra stuff. But first, meat and potatoes.
So can I just add something there? I just want to address something that Ty says. So Ty, there's nothing wrong with experimentation. Like, I mean, there was more experimentation in the PS1, PS2 era, even in the 360 era. The only difference is you didn't spend 400 million on an experiment. You spend the priority money on, for instance, on the big franchises that actually have a guaranteed audience. Same thing like you mentioned Minecraft and all these other smaller games. Minecraft cost what to make? And again, this was already a proven IP with an audience when Microsoft bought it. But even then, when those guys were making it, it cost peanuts to make that. And they could make tons, billions out of that. And as a result of that, they bought the thing, and then they put a bigger budget behind those games, and they still sell well. What I'm saying is this whole attitude of going all in on an audience you do not have. Again, it goes back to say what I said about Phil Spencer. There's this whole perception in the industry that there's a billion players, because people play games on cell phones, that are this modern audience that they're all courting. Screw the guys, screw the 50 to 60 or the 20 million guys that buy God of War, Spider-Man, and whatever. You know what? We have those guys. We don't care about them. We will prioritize this modern audience because of the fact that there's a billion of them. And I think they're slowly learning the fact that there isn't a billion of these people. And these people seldom show up unless the game has already almost caught on with an existing audience. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying don't experiment.
The main audience, not the modern audience. It starts with an M, but it's not modern, it's main. Oh, anyway, going back to the whole thing about innovation. They said here in their tweet, the idea of putting new things into the world is critical to pushing the medium forward. And I want to bring Matt in on this one, because I think Matt might be a little bit more objective. Guys.
With what? Let me see.
With this specific point here, it says the idea of putting new things into the world is critical to pushing the medium forward.
Okay.
My view is, you get people bringing new things into the gaming medium every 5 days. There's a new game that releases every single week, and almost all of them have one or two new ideas. My point is, it doesn't matter if your idea is new. If your game needs to be good first, and then we're going to look at all your new ideas. No one gives a fuck about new ideas. It's why there's these sequels that keep getting made and people keep buying them. People keep buying the sequels. Why? Because everyone trusts that the foundation of the previous game is still in the sequel. So this is worth my $60. No one's really stressed about, oh, this is a new mechanic that I've never seen in gaming. Okay, what's the game? Oh, the game's called Concord. Get the fuck out of here. No one cares about new ideas if it's not married with an awesome game. Am I crazy, Matt?
Can I so for me personally, I can only speak for me personally. I'll tell you what. I'll give you a pretty good example of this. I've talked about it a few times. I'm quite burnt out on this whole, like, every single showcase. It feels like we get like 3 or 4 Souls games announced.
Yes.
And and it's like, I look at that and I'm like, these games, objectively, they look good. Like, they're like, I can't look at them and pick apart things that make them look bad. Yes. They look good. But the fact that we're just relegated to, like, every show we see like 4 or 5 of these, and to the point where, like, they just start to blend in with each other, and I can't remember the names of each specific one. And I think that God, what was the one that came to Game Pass a while? I think Wolong is Rise of the Ronin, or vice versa, and then I think Wu Chang is Wukong.
Something about
and then
Lies of P.
Yeah, Lies of P also. Like, I'll give it to Lies of P in the sense that one stuck out to me because of the premise. Pinocchio. Oh, that's weird. I didn't see that coming. That one sticks out to me. I'm not saying it's better or worse than any of the others. I'm just saying it sticks out to me. It catches my eye more. And it's not because the games are bad. It's just because there's, like, for me personally, a lack of just difference. It's like, okay, you changed up the setting, but you're giving me, like, the exact same game that person's giving me, or that person's giving me, or that person's giving me. It doesn't get me excited, me personally. And I'm only speaking for me. It just doesn't excite me. So, like, when, like, I would disagree that innovation, like I think you said earlier, nobody cares about innovation. We only want good games. I obviously want good games. I think everybody does. But I do care about innovation. I do. And I think that's a pretty good example of... What's that?
Do you think that sentiment, the one that you have, reflects in the industry in terms of sales and buzz?
Look, I don't think so. But again, if you're asking me, I'm just giving you my thought.
And that's what I'm talking about, because this whole conversation is about, if you're in the boardroom with Concord and they're asking you for your opinion, your opinion shouldn't just be shaped about what you think about the game for you. It should be shaped around, we're trying to sell a game. Because don't forget, this game is not free. The opinion should be, we're trying to sell a game. So what are the moves to make if we're trying to sell a game? Not to Matt, but to the masses of players who have a pattern of behavior, an observable pattern of behavior for the last 2-3 decades now.
Well, then, Loke, I'll tell you what. In the sense of Concord, innovation absolutely should matter. Because without innovation in that market, you're not going to stand out. And again, I don't mean innovation as in, like,
they stood up.
And I don't mean innovation as in, oh, look at our wacky characters. I don't mean that kind of innovation. I mean, like, what are you doing on a gameplay level that makes you different? That makes you different than Overwatch. That's innovation, and that is something that I do think is absolutely necessary, not just for me, but for all players. Because if you come out with a game that is just as good as Overwatch, the exact same game, just as good, you change up the characters a little bit, and you change up some maps, right? Why is anybody going to play your game over Overwatch when they're already on Overwatch? They've already got all the things that they want in Overwatch. What makes your game stand out that makes them go, oh, I'm going to play that instead? Nothing. That's why you need innovation. That's why, and again, that's not just a me thing. I think that's pretty. I think most people would say that.
If you hear yourself, if you rewind, if you turn the audio off from this chat, and then rewind on YouTube and hear yourself speak, you specifically mentioned the gameplay, which is what I said before. If your innovation
in gameplay,
if your innovation is I'm going to make the game good, that's fine. But if your innovation is a whole bunch of other stuff, and then the gameplay comes second, and it shows that the gameplay came second, you're not innovating.
That's fair. But I'm not talking about the innovation. Again, I don't know. I can't speak for what Sony or Firewalk were thinking behind closed doors. I mean, we heard all the reports. Who the fuck knows, honestly. But like, innovation in a sense of like the traditional sense of the way I think about it, and I think most of you would probably think about it, like actual things that make your game different and unique. Mechanic. Exactly. That is something that I'll always look for in a game.
And there was no innovation in this game. From everything I heard, it was just standard or below standard. There was nothing new. And everyone just kept pointing at the characters.
It was a disgusting Overwatch. It was a gross to look at Overwatch.
Damn.
That's what they made.
So Ty, with all this said, you still haven't told us. Are you happy about them getting shut down? Are you upset, or are you indifferent?
I'll say I'm indifferent. I was telling Matt as well that listen, you don't take 200 million and fail. There's going to be consequences to that. So it's expected. Would I have liked them to have a second chance to make, to fix Concord, to actually listen to the people? Well, yeah, because I mean, why would I not want them to have a second chance? Apart from, let's just say, the human part of things where, they keep the jobs. But if you can turn Concord into a reasonable game that might interest me, that's more good. That's more games for us to play. Like, why would we champion to have less games, right? So I guess that's the only maybe iffy thing. But clearly Sony looked at the opportunity cost. They saw wasn't there. And again, this is someone's money, and they can choose to do what they want to do with it. So I'll leave it as indifferent for sure. I could see why people might be happy because a failure like this might make Sony pivot into kind of making the kind of games that they want. But even at that, I think Herman Holtz and Hiroki Totoki, they mentioned they're like, no, we're not stopping. And I think that's fine.
Yeah,
they shouldn't stop. They're gonna keep doing it. The only difference is they're just gonna be smart about it. Because if you really think about it, Sony has published at least 3 live service games now. Or you could say they have 4. One of them is MLB The Show. That's extremely successful. Well, okay, fair enough. That's more of a multiplayer game. Helldivers 2, the fastest selling PlayStation game that they've ever released. So that's a success right there. Then you got Concord, which is the failure. But you also got the one with Square Enix, the painting one, whatever it is. And that one too, Bond. But they have some good hits under their belt. So I don't expect them to stop. I just expect them to be smart about it.
Foam Stars, and then they released one early on, which was like a racing game or something really like.
Foam Stars, yeah, Foam Stars is one.
Destruction All Stars, Matt.
Yeah.
Matt, I don't ever want to hear you call me a pony again.
I'll call you
twice.
A pony again. Don't worry.
Twice I've spoken to twice I've been very specific with my questions to Ty. Twice, and twice this man has failed. He has failed. To stay on topic and not damage control for Sony. Why?
You're talking about me.
So leave me out, Matt.
Oh,
next time
one thing about
ponies.
One thing about innovation, though.
Leave me out.
I see what you guys were saying about companies being innovative, but not every game that's a good game is actually innovative, right? Some of them might have certain quirks here and there. But like, is Wukong innovative from a gameplay perspective? I don't know. Was Stellar Blade innovative? Like, there's other action adventure games that do a better job than Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade's innovation was
we're going to go around in circles. We're going to go around in circles because now I'm going to tell you what I told you 20 minutes ago, which is, again, no one gives a fuck about innovation. If it
You guys are
if it's not
talking about
wrapped around-
innovation. You were
it's not
literally
wrapped
talking about
around
it.
a very good game.
Well,
It
can I tell you
first
something
of
real quick?
all, before you innovate, make a good game. If you want to just make a good game and not innovate, guess what? You're going to get rich. It's very simple. Drawn TJ, member for 7 months. Thank you so much. Hi guys. Sony is dying, but Xbox is dead. Ironic. LOL. That's true.
Wrong
Matt, go
dude.
ahead.
No, I just wanted to say you're a pony. You're all good though.
Matt, never change.
What's up, bud?
Never change, bro. Never change.
Oh, I'm not.
Oh my god. Yo, Danny just gifted 5 TSWS gaming memberships. Thank you so much, yo, Danny. You're the real MVP here. Guys, make sure if you don't have a membership, go ahead and pick up one. Thank you so much, yo, Danny. Really appreciate it. Destruction All Stars, a great nickname for Sweet Baby. Oh my goodness. Listen, and this is a like tangential story. Oshus, I know you saw the video from Smash JT talking about Sweet Baby and Kimberly's sex podcast.
Oh yeah.
What did you think? What did you think?
I've always said that, like, I find it funny when people make fun of guys for liking women, you know, that look conventionally attractive, like what, you know, we all consider to be an attractive person. Meanwhile, you know, if you look at, like, you just one little peek into their account, it's some furry stuff. It's like, first of all, the just their whatchamacallit, their avatar is a furry. And then you look at the stuff they're into like all sorts of like animal weird stuff. Like, and again, I'm not judging, but I find it funny that they're the first ones to call you a Guna, all these funny names that they've just made up in the last year or so. You know, they'll call any normal gamer that just complains about the fact that the females are not attractive in games anymore, which is not, I guess, it's we all can see it. You compare them against Asian created characters, it's day and night. But those same people,
Abby is gorgeous. Abby is gorgeous. What are you talking about?
I'd let her beat the shit out of me. Yeah, much.
The actress who plays
Continue.
the face actress.
I actually read somewhere online.
yeah.
I read somewhere online that Asian gamers, they wouldn't. This guy is Asian himself. He said that Asian gamers wouldn't. They don't like the DEI stuff per se because they like attraction in their video games. And if your game is actually unattractive, it just won't sell because they want characters to be attractive, men and women.
That's the same thing we want in the West as well. Until 2020,
No.
2021.
What do you mean we in the West? Oshus, you live in South Africa. You're not in the West. What are you talking about?
We're part of the West, bro. Like, we're mini West.
I fight that, dude. I fight that with everything that I have. Frelimo, dude, my ruling party is a communist country. We are very much aligned with Russia. What are you talking about? Hell no. We're not in the
identify
West.
as a Western, and you have no right to tell me what I can identify.
Whoa. All right. Okay, Oshus, I'm not gonna fight you. Drawn TJ, thank you so much for the super chat.
And then she's into all this stuff, Bowser and whatnot. I'm like, who's surprised, bro? Who's surprised that that's what she wants to knock boots with? Like, the characters that you see in their games make sense. I'm like, oh, of course you're into that. That's why you don't find anything that I'm into interesting. So whenever I reshare all these girls from like the First Descent, and it's like, another pervert. I'm like, bro, this is
incel.
What women look like.
You're an incel, Oshus.
Exactly. I'm a neckbeard, I'm an incel, and all these names that they come out with. But yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Okay. My 2 cents is, first off, Kimberly is hot as fuck. I know people hate her because of a whole bunch of all of this, like all woke and all this other stuff with Sweet Baby, but sister is fine. She's not fine. She is fine.
Sorry, who are we talking
and she has
about?
an awesome voice. Kimberly.
I think he's talking about
the owner of Sweet Baby Inc.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god. Not Anita. No. Oh,
I thought that's who you were talking
about. Give me
about.
Kimberly any day.
That's my fault.
No. Kim Bel Air. Oh my goodness. Anyways, Ty and Matt, I don't know if you guys. I'm guessing you guys didn't see the reporting around this. I knew Osha saw it because Osha is terminally online. Essentially, what happened was people are really, really like desperate to find as much dirt on Kim Belair as possible because she's, according to them, bringing in the DEI mafia into gaming
single-handedly.
And essentially, she had a sexual. She had a podcast called Sex Something or the Most Sexy or something, where they would discuss like the sexiest characters in gaming and who they would want to bang and stuff like that. Her and some other woman. Nice. And in one of the episodes, she was like, she would be interested in Bowser, and she called him bondage daddy.
Sure.
And
why not?
Exactly. That's what I thought. I was like, guys, and people are reporting on it like it's an L. I'm like, guys, this makes me like her even more. Like Kim Belair is a freak. Let's go. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, it's a reach. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I've watched many I've seen many interviews with people who are into anime. They'll tell you exactly who they want to hook up with, and some of them have some very, very strange picks. The ones that you wouldn't expect. So
some of them children.
Yeah, so exactly. I didn't I didn't see any of those ones.
Yeah.
But some of them are weird though.
I've
like
seen
for
some
sure.
pick Naruto characters, and I'm like, what? Okay.
Oh yeah. No, I get you there. So I don't think this is nothing like this is very common in the anime community, in the I guess even video game community. Like people are into Overwatch characters. Like it's games, right? Like we can once again there's enough space to hook up with anything you want in the video game, right? It's like who cares? So it's not that deep.
Matt, what you think about Kim Belair being a freak?
Good for
wanting
her.
to hook up with Bowser.
Good for her. I mean, dude, the amount of people, I'll tell you what, the amount of people that I saw whenever Baldur's Gate came out who were having sex with the bear, she can get on a podcast. She can get on a podcast and talk about Bowser tying her up and doing all sorts of weird shit. If that's what she wants to do, hey, God bless you. And have a blast.
So
I'm trying to find a Bowser outfit for research purposes.
My only question is then why is it that like when straight or the straight, let's say straight white dude makes a comment about a female character, or they say that they prefer certain looking female characters in games, everyone, or like generally what you get from the excess media and from some other developers, like even including now with one of the writers from BioWare, as well as other, creatives in BioWare, when like people were commenting about like, how the females looked in that game, all of them sort of had that same sort of notion of like, how dare you?
Whoa.
Yeah, like, you just want, X out of
I'll tell you.
Yeah,
first, let me get the super chat. Let me get the super chat first, and then Matt, you can go. Hold on. Drawn TJ, thank you so much for the $5. Says Loke is a pony. He owns a PS5 and plays Football Manager. LOL.
Exactly.
Drawn TJ, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for that one. Matt, go ahead.
So, like you mentioned earlier, First Descendant. Like, for me personally, I don't care. Like, if you find the women on First Descendant are attractive, is what it like. I'm not gonna hate on you for you pointing that out. That's kind of dumb. And I do think, to your point, Oshis, that it is stupid when someone goes, oh, it would be better if this character was more attractive. If that's your opinion or whatever, like, dude, I'm not gonna fucking argue with you about that. Like, that's your opinion. That's how you feel. That's how a lot of people feel. It is what it is. But like at the same time, you know, and I'm not talking about you, Oshis, or even anyone on this panel, but there's like certain corners of the internet where it's like that becomes a lot of people's identity online in the gaming community, where it's just
what
like
becomes the identity,
like they directly associate a game's worth, or what, I don't know how you would say it. They just directly associate a game's worth with like, oh, I saw this trailer and that character wasn't attractive. This or that character is not attractive. And it's like, dude, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. Like, whatever. It's no big deal. But like not everybody feels that way.
Yeah,
Just
but it's
like
not even it's not, it doesn't even tell you anything about the game, right? Like if someone is sexy or not doesn't mean the game is good or bad, you know.
Like
that's why I can't even take them seriously, because it's like you see a character, who is in sexy, and then the response is like, "This game is gonna suck." It's like like at what point as a child growing up playing video games that the value or the worth of or how good a game is was based on if the character was sexy or not. That never crossed my mind as a kid, and it's never crossed my mind, you know, even growing up. Zelda's, the Baldur's Gate, like Baldur's Gate didn't sell that many copies because the characters were sexy. It was a damn good game, and I think to kind of reduce these games that people spend 5-7 years making, that has so much more to offer than other art forms like literature and cinema and music. Like there's so much that goes into it. To just reduce them to these type of like, well, if your game isn't sexy, then it must suck. It's like, at what point are you not a gamer anymore?
Well, my question is, as a customer, it's your opinion. You're entitled to it. The studio cannot.
Yeah.
Why are you now, as the creative, coming out against me? As I'm a customer, I'm entitled to a bad opinion. It's the same way that, like, for instance, a lot of publications have come out, like, with games like, for instance, Dragon's Crown Pro being super sexy. I mean, that's how one of the ways that Jason Schreier made his name, by going and writing a huge article about like how women are sexualized in games, and this was around the same time Anita was creeping into this whole thing, and then he made the whole thing about like we need to do better, blah 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 blah. Who is he to come and preach to the audience what is appropriate? Because they started this narrative. You have to understand, gamers didn't just decide, wake up one day. It started somewhere.
And I would agree with that, but you see, I think the problem is like when that happens, I will call out Jason for like, hey, stop telling them how to make their games. But I'll keep that same energy. So when a developer decides to make a character who's not as attractive, I'll say the same thing. Hey, don't tell them how to make their games. But the other side isn't doing that. They'll go at Jason for telling developers how to make games. But when a developer makes a game that isn't attractive, they'll say, why aren't you making it sexy? So it's just there's no consistency here, right? It's just like, well, how do I feel like today, and what do I want to attack? So I think the people who are just consistent, the ones like they're just, in terms of opinion wise, they're just a lot more valuable. As soon as people start flopping, this and that, you can never really truly ascertain what they're actually trying to say. And that's where, like, we get into this. So, like, is it really sexism then? Is it really racism? And I think those topics are silly. But when somebody is so inconsistent and they're picking and choosing, you start to wonder, well, what's the truth here? Like, why are you so angry?
But it's randoms. That's the whole point. It's randoms on the internet. I have a problem when publishers and developers and the excess media do this. I don't care what a randoms, like, it's the same thing with the guys like who would call me whatchamacallit, whatever name, like whatever name on Twitter or on X. Like, it's a random on the internet. Pony. I don't care. Yes, we're a pony. But like, the problem is when it's coming from the actual media and the people making the games. See, there's a difference there. Like, like, you're not supposed to take a side in these sort of discussions. You're supposed to sort of maintain your neutrality and put out a product there and see who bites. And if you're writing about the product, you're supposed to present a two-sided sort of approach to that. But you don't see that anymore. It's always like this push immediately. Toxic gamers, Nick Beard, and it starts with Kotaku, then it'll trickle down to IGN, and a lot of the people in the game who are working for these studios will echo those sentiments in the comments.
I mean, I'll be real, like, from a mainstream media point of view, I don't really come across any major reviewers who are, being political with their games. There might be some even silly statements here and there, like, I'll admit that. But I don't think that's ever indicative of like the final score. Like, I think we ran through this, I think, on this podcast before, where we looked at games like games that were supposed to be anti-woke or whatever, right? Stellar Blade being one, and it's Metacritic wise, it scored pretty much where it should be, right? So I don't know if they even have a material effect, or they're trying to. Like, I don't know if any of these sites gets a game and they literally like bash the game on purpose just because it doesn't do whatever they want to do. I think they probably give it a fair shake. So, and I think that's all you can ask for. Like, I don't like you can have your political views and you can spouse them if you want, but I mean, as long as it's not affecting the score of the game, I don't think it's a real issue.
All right, Matt, go ahead.
Wait, what?
I thought you wanted to say something. I heard you trying to interject a couple of times.
Oh, shit, I don't even remember. I mean, but like, just for me, I'll just say for me, like, the way I think about it is like a lot of the games that I love. I say, like, I mean, my favorite game of all time, Skyrim. I can't think of one character from Skyrim where I'm just like, God, she was hot, or or like I think of also GTA 4. It's my favorite GTA, and I know people disagree with that. But you know, people got different opinions. But that's my favorite GTA, and it's like I can't think of a character from GTA 4. I'm like, God damn, she was hot. Like they had that girl, that receptionist girl that Roman was always talking to, and she was all right, but it was like that was it. That's pretty much it. I didn't think at the time like, oh, this is lacking. This doesn't have any hot women in it. This is lacking something. I didn't think that at the time, and I still really don't. I just
So
like
to
if the game.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's like for me, if the game's good, the game's good. That's and it's as simple as that. If there's a hot character in it, that's great. If there's not, whatever. But the game has to be good.
Yeah,
for me, that's it.
And to Oshus's point, and why I kind of agree with him and disagree with you, Ty, is no one here has the right. I think you've lost the plot if you now start telling people why they should buy games. Or if you start saying that the reason why they buy games is the wrong reason, in my opinion. I think you can say that you personally disagree with their reason, and you buy like what Matt said. He gave examples of like these. I bought these games and I played these games, and at no point did I sit there and I was like, so I finished GTA 4 and I didn't find any of the characters bangable mid-game. That's valid. That is valid. But anyone else that sits there and says, I didn't like GTA 4 because there was no bangable characters, that's also valid. You know why? Because people are allowed to go into games for what they want to go into games for. And I use myself as an example. Like one of the reasons I play games is storytelling. I love a good story. And I'm absolutely in love with Black Ops 6. I fucking love that story. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm having a blast with the story, with the characters. I don't look for fuckable characters personally. I look for likable characters and a fun story. Yeah. But I've had people on this very podcast make fun of me. Like, dude, why are you looking for stories in video games? Why don't you just go watch movies? So for me, because I can kind of look at it from my perspective of people have looked at me and said, dude, Football Manager is not a real game. It's not a game. Look at that. That's a fucking spreadsheet. That's an Excel file. How can you have fun with that? That's why, from my point of view, we should never approach it like, why do the characters need to be sexy for you? No, that's not the approach. The approach is you don't like the game because there's no sexy characters. Hey man, that's on you, buddy. Me, I love GTA 4. That's fine. But to tell people that they shouldn't grade games on the sexiness of the characters because that's what interests them in gaming, it will sound empowering and fun right now, Ty, when you are pointing the finger. But when someone else uses that exact tactic against you, it won't be fun.
No, I think we've lost the plot there. You can buy games for whatever reason you want to buy games. What I'm saying is that if you're bash them, but if you're really that into characters looking sexy, go play one of the porn games on Steam. Go play one of these like hentai like.
You don't have to play porn games. Overwatch is not a porn game. Metal Gear is not a porn game.
Yeah, but
there's a whole bunch of games that aren't porn games.
The point is you can't
play porn games. When you say go play porn games, dude, that's an underhanded insult to people, to other gamers, and you know it.
Okay,
Come on,
fine
bro.
then.
That's like
Okay,
me
if you
saying
want to call
don't
that,
play woke games. Like,
if you want to
Let's
call that,
engage.
yeah.
Let's engage
My,
in good faith.
well, hold
Come
on. My point here is this, yeah. Just like that chick reviewed Wukong and rated it down because there was no females in it, that's a ridiculous take. If you're going to grade a game on its diversity, or it's like, can you play a World War II game and say, yo, there are no black people here, so 0 out of 10? That's not a logical take. That's ridiculous. I'm saying
you know why
that person
that
can
doesn't match?
that person
You know
can
why that
grade
doesn't match?
that person can rate it that, but what we need to say is like, yeah, your opinion sucks. It's stupid. It doesn't make sense.
That example doesn't match because that lady that you're talking about made a review for a publication. Not and you want to compare her to randos on the internet giving their personal opinions.
Oh, that's what
I
I
think-
think.
I think you're missing the point here. I'm grading everyone the exact same. So in the exact same way, you can write an article right now, you random, telling me what you think about Cyberpunk. I'll read it in the same way I'll read the guys at IGN. I'm not putting them at a step above you because their publication. The reason why Matty plays, the reason why ACG got big is not because they went to some journalistic school. Is because they said, you know what, I like talking about games. I'm going to talk about games, and that's it. And then we all started gravitating. I mean, this is your podcast. There's a reason why people are watching. Is because they want your opinion on certain things, right? Like you didn't need to do a degree for them to come and join this podcast. So yeah, I'm just going to grade everyone the exact same. So I'm going to read an IGN review, and I'm going to say, okay, fair take. I'm going to read your take as well. Now, if the guy in IGN says, well, this game, it has a lot of police officers, and I'm, Black Lives Matter or whatever it is. This game is 0 out of 10. That's a ridiculous take. It's 0. Yeah, we can say it's garbage. So just like you, if you're playing Football Manager and for whatever reason it now allows female managers, and you say, I don't like this, it's woke, it's shit, Football Manager 0 out of 10. Yeah, I'm going to say your take sucks. Because at what point are you not playing games anymore?
All right, so now we're moving the goalposts.
My question is,
at first, hold on, Ushers. At first, we're talking about random people sharing their opinions about games. Now we're talking about reviews.
No. You can have an opinion on games. That's perfectly fine.
What I'm saying is that reviews, dude, we need to pick an angle and stick to it. Because if we keep changing angles, then we will never reach a conclusion. We're either talking about opinions of random people talking about they want sexy people on the screen, or talking about video game reviews.
No. A review is an opinion as well, right? It's opinion on the game. So
that's why when you go on these websites and stuff, they have different columns for video game reviews, opinion pieces. All right.
Okay, so are we talking reviews or are we talking opinions?
You're the one who took it to reviews. And this whole time, me, you, Ushers, and Matt have been talking about people's opinions and the right that everyone has to buy a game, support a game, shit on a game, or like shield for a game, whatever metric they want. We're using whatever reasoning they want, whether it's sexy people or not.
I never disputed that. My pushback is when you're talking about a game and you're basing the game's value in terms of entertainment, if a character is sexy or not, you've lost the plot. Because at no point did you play the game and actually say, okay, well, what's the story like? What are the characters like? What's the combat like? God. You didn't go into details. You've just judged the game based on if someone is sexy or not. At what point have you lost the plot? Now you can
based on what they look like. Matt, do you agree with this take? Because I'm about to lose my mind.
Okay. To Matt's point, real quick here. Where Matt said, "No, wait, hold on." To Matt's point right now,
you can't make a decision on whether you want a game or not because of how the character looks.
No.
That's not okay.
My point is this: when Matt said Skyrim is one of the best games ever that he's played, I'm saying I could judge that opinion because he's played the game and he likes the game, right? But if somebody says, "Yeah, you know what? the game could have been great, but there's no sexy character, so it's a 0 out of 10. I'm saying that's a stupid opinion.
That's wild.
No, it's not wild. That's a ridiculous opinion to have.
Okay, let me get the super chat and I'll tell you why it's wild. Thank you, Yodani, for another super chat on me and Kimberly's shipping. Oh my god! Listen, if anyone here knows how to get in touch with Kimberly, I'd like to interview her. Anyways, Yodani, thank you so much. Says, look to Kimberly. You misspelled her name, but that's neither here nor there. I heard you like the bad boys. You should see my ban history in the COD and Halo lobbies. I used very colorful language. Sunglasses emoji. Naughty devil emoji. Yodani, thank you so much. So why I think that's a wild take is that you are saying we cannot, or it's not right for people to judge a game, whether they like a game, based on how the characters look. I think that's wild. That's crazy. That is insane.
Oh no, they can judge the game. I'm just saying once they've judged it and we've heard the reason, we can dismiss the reason because it's a stupid reason.
Absolutely, you can dismiss.
Exactly. He never said you can't. He just said his opinion is that's not, like, he doesn't care about that.
So
I can't take somebody.
Wait.
We can't take anybody. Listen, the same way we didn't take that Wukong reviewer seriously because she literally said, "Not enough women in this game." Like, imagine she gave it a 0 out of 10. I'm saying, why would you respect that opinion, regardless if it's an opinion or review? Why would you respect it? Because she's literally saying, I don't care about the gameplay. I don't care about the story. I don't care about the mechanics. I'm telling you that because there's no diversity in this game, the game sucks. End of story. Because Game of Thrones is it's an predominantly all white cast, it sucks. This is not a respectable opinion. This is stupid.
And I agree with you. The only thing that I think we just because the problem is we're mixing in a lot of people here or groups that do not belong together. First of all, there's people with authority. If you work for a publication or a recognized outlet or medium, you have authority. So you mentioned Matty Plays in them and the fact that they built an audience of people that listen to them. That's fine. So did Nedorotic and a whole bunch of other, what people call the griftosphere of channels that just make a living off, of clickbait. If you saying those guys, when they say things like that, of course it's always dismissive. It's got a woman in it, it's got a black person in it, it's going to be dismissive. We know that. So when you saying, yes, I won't take your opinion serious, that makes sense to me. But then when it comes to people that actually, because I don't consider, especially when it comes to the YouTuber sphere, people are playing to their audience. Those guys have a lot of people within their audience that just want to hear that. That's fine. I have no problem with that. Same with people on the far left who are playing to a specific audience. That's fine. My problem is when people with authority who are supposed to be neutral and supposed to sort of say, you know what, we're not going to take a side in this. We're just here to curate or to create the experience. This is BioWare, this is EA, this is Sony. It's all these organizations and the staff that works for them. All those people have authority and they're in positions in which they can influence, whether it's the brand, whether it's the audience, etc., etc. When those people take those opinions or those stances, I have a problem with it. When it's some random YouTuber or some random on the internet, that's their opinion. It's two separate things. That's all I'm saying, is that as long as we keep it clear as to whose opinions we're dismissing, and that dismissal cannot come from the people that are curating the experience or creating the experience.
But here's the thing, so I agree with everything you said there, apart from the fact that when you said that the creators can't, comment on these things. I think the issue we have right now is if the creator of Insomniac says something, right, who he is, and he voices his opinion online, he's gonna get critique. People are gonna agree, and people are gonna disagree with him. And I think that's perfectly fine. This parasocial relationship we have with these creators, it just kind of needs to kind of stop. People just need to realize, these are individuals. They have their own opinions. They have their own views. If you're a worker for Naughty Dog and you're woke or whatever it is, and you're posting all this wokey stuff, I don't care. Same thing if you're a Trump supporter, I don't care. I don't care about any of these things, right? I just care about the actual quality of the game. Now, if you want to say
it's not the same thing. It's not the same. You're not a random YouTuber that catering to a right-wing audience or a left-wing audience. You are there to create a product. That's what the company pays you for. They don't pay you for your politics or your opinion. Like, I mean,
but you see, but my point there, Ushers, would be that then I'll look to Sony to then tell them, hey, shut up. But if Sony's cool with it, then I don't think anyone has to complain. Like, I don't begrudge any developer saying, hey, you guys are X, Y, Z. Or, like, I don't really care. Is the game good or not? You know. And I think when we start to distance ourselves,
impact how people then perceive your game and whether or not they do buy your game. And then, because don't forget, when you make those opinions and you work for BioWare, there's other people that don't share your opinion that work for BioWare. That's where it becomes dangerous. It's because now you are misrepresenting other people's views, other people who are just maybe as much in stake on this as you do.
I 100% agree with you. What I would say,
like a Concord, and at the back of your statements that you are willing to double down on, company ends up closing down, or the company closes down, and you're one of the perceived
calling people talentless freaks.
So that's my thing, is that you have a PR department in every business for a reason. Stop letting these rando developers and people go out there and smear campaign your games with their bad opinions or their ideology and their stances. That's not what you pay them for. I pay you to design character.
I'm with you 100%. I would just look at Sony to deal with that. I would look at the BioWare's HR team to deal with that. Now, if the developer is saying things like, you know, that's a bit on the left leaning side. So, for example, I know PlayStation, it was controversial because some of their studios, I think Jim Ryan was trying to say, hey, let's stay neutral on the whole abortion topic, and some of the studios like they actually came out and was like, no, we support it, all that kind of stuff. Like, to me, that's an internal issue with Sony. They need to sort that out themselves. Developers shouldn't attack players. That's true. I mean, I agree with that. That's just, but see, to me, that's bad marketing. I don't think this is really what we were talking about initially. That's just bad marketing to me. I think the initial topic we were talking about was how do we critique, like, can we critique people's opinions or certain things? And I'm saying, yeah, we can. Like, if you tell me right now, like, the reason why I don't like this game is because XYZ reason, yeah, I mean, whatever, that's cool. But I can also tell you, like, it's a garbage ass reason. You can't play Elden Ring and tell me that, like, well, they didn't show enough cleavage, so the game sucks, 0 out of 10. I'm saying that person is crazy. I mean, that person's opinion should not be listened to or respected. Because if that's going to turn you off from one of the best games of the generation,
unless you're a cleavage-loving player, unless you're a cleavage-loving player, unless you're a player that cares about cleavage in your games.
And then my next question is, like, when you were young playing games, like, was that what got you into games?
No, but like, people are allowed to evolve and grow. Are they not?
Okay.
Are we supposed to remain our 12-year-old selves? Am I still supposed to be playing Mario, bruv? Am I still supposed to be playing all these kiddie games?
Hold on a second. At what point did you have a great experience with Ocarina of Time, with Mario, with GoldenEye, with No Mercy, with BioShock, with Red Dead Redemption, and then out of nowhere, out of all those games we've just talked about, now they all suck because they didn't show cleavage? That's a ridiculous take.
Listen, No Mercy was awesome because China was in there, all right? And if you know anything about China, you know what's up, all right? There's no like problem with cleavage when you're talking about China. So No Mercy was the shit.
Yeah, and she was like the #1 selling Playboy cover.
Oh my God, China. So that's what happened, Ty. People grew the fuck up. All right? We stopped playing and making mud castles, right? And we started doing other stuff. Literally doing. Okay? So people are allowed to want to see whatever they want to see on the screen. If the developer doesn't provide that, if the developer does not provide that, you have the right not to pay for that game and go and pay for the game that gives you what you want, which is why the first Descendant is making bank until today, and the game on the screen right now doesn't even have a bank account.
Okay,
shut down.
Well, here's a question for you then, right? You know, so Metaphors come out. Ham's played it, he likes it. I told you I like it. It's probably going to be game of the year, whatever it is. One of the characters in the game, Hulkenberg. I saw some of these, weirdo grifters post a picture of the fact that, like, her ass is a bit flat. So imagine that person was like, "Yo, this game was a 10 out of 10, but now it's a 0 out of 10 because the ass is flat." I'm asking you, Loke, are you going to respect that person's opinion, or can you say it's garbage?
I'm going to disagree with their opinion. I'm not going to say it's garbage.
Ah, come on. What do you mean disagree?
I think it's a bad idea. I think it's a bad opinion.
Do you think it's a reasonable opinion to have that this game metaphor sucks in every single way, shape, or form?
Who has said that?
No. I'm giving a hypothetical right here because I'm trying to hone in the points that some takes can be stupid.
No, that's kind of crazy. That's why.
Yeah, it is crazy. Of course, it's crazy. That's what I'm saying. So the idea that somebody says, "Well, this game now sucks because there's no cleavage," is ridiculous. Because you got to go back to the same question: are you saying Ocarina of Time, GoldenEye, all these games all sucked? Now you could say you grew up, but you can't tell me that feeling of that magical feeling you had when you played Ocarina of Time for the first time, or when you played maybe GTA or No Mercy or the first 3D game you played. You can't tell me that's replicated because of cleavage.
Can I answer Taye's question?
Womb Raider. Go ahead.
So my thing is like, okay, cool. If said game, right? And I'm not talking about metaphor here.
Let's try and keep it to Concord, guys. Let's try and keep it to Concord.
Okay. Let's say now, the game is a game that was traditionally, it had sexy characters in it. Like a game I'm not gonna mention, but like, and before that, the sexiness was embraced,
TFT.
and it was sort of
talking about TFT.
Yeah, please go ahead. Make your sexy characters. It's part and parcel of what we do. We cater for you as the audience, and then that's what we sort of understand that our people, the people that play our games, are into. All of a sudden now, all of those features or all those things are missing from the game. Then I complain and I say, what? I'm just not happy with this. This was something that was important to me. Is to let's use this example, not referring to anything. I like to romance characters that I'm actually attracted to in games. Now all those characters are no longer appealing to people that sort of like what I like, which is the majority of the fan base. Am I still not justified in me saying, what, this is trash. This is some bullshit. You've taken something I like and you've changed it to the point that I don't recognize it. Am I in the wrong for saying this? Because this is not something, going back to your point about like, well, where did we deviate? Most of the time, the deviation comes from what it was before and what you've changed it to. Because
so we're talking about go ahead.
One last point, like Legend of Zelda was never sexy. Like nobody expected that of Zelda or Mario or Donkey Kong, but there were games that were inherently sexy, like Tomb Raider. And now you do things like when you do the remake, you remove all the sexy posters that used to be in the original game. You change her appearance over time. You sort of change the messaging in behind what she was doing as a character and her motivations. And then the audience kind of gets pissed off because that's the character they sort of grew up and they liked. Now it's a completely different character. Are they not justified in their outrage or their anger?
Depends what kind of outrage we're talking about. I can perfectly understand if somebody buys, let's say, a Bayonetta, for example, right? Great game. And out of nowhere, they switch everything up, right? I think the disappointment or the retaliation comes from more the fact that, like, hey, you're changing something that I like. You're changing something that I grew up with. I think that's perfectly fine to not want to play that game. Now, to say it's 0 out of 10 because, they've kind of covered up her boobs or whatever, that's a bit of an extreme take. But, I get why you might not want to play the game because you feel passionately hurt or whatever it is. My pushback isn't really with existing IPs. So with Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, all those games, I kind of understand to an extent. However, when it's new IPs, like let's say a new game like a Concord or whatever it is, and I think I'm giving a very extreme take here because I just wanted to kind of hone in the point that like the takes are ridiculous. Like we can have some kind of middle ground. So let's say Concord. I will agree with you that the characters are terrible. Like they're not like the character designs are horrible. However, if somebody is saying that like, you know what, I actually like the character designs. I think everyone's great. I think the gameplay is amazing. But because there's no cleavage, this game sucks. If they showed a bit of cleavage, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. I'm saying this take, and this is why I was pointing to Loki in particular, that yes, we can say some takes are stupid and just crazy.
I'm actually in agreement with you there, like to a large extent. I agree with what you're saying in terms of it's new IPs, and you've just like for instance with Concord, I don't know who this game was for, so I cannot judge and say the characters were not attractive. And we had this conversation. I think
700 people. This game was for 700 people.
So that's my point. Like, I have no opinion in terms of like the sexiness of these characters. And people, I saw them say, well, if the characters were sexier, maybe. I think they're referring to Fortnite characters, and we sort of unpacked that as well in another podcast, Ty and I. But even with, like, for instance, as you mentioned, with Fortnite characters, there's specific aesthetic there, but the characters are not just centered around sexiness. I get that. I'm just talking specifically where they've changed things from how a thing used to be to how it is now for their own reasons, because they're sort of trying to change the target market. But if it's a new IP, I have no such, I can't comment and say, okay, cool, like the characters.
Oh, I mean, like, even for Mass Effect, the Mark Dara, the head of BioWare, he came out and said Mass Effect will have a realistic, it will be fully realistic, and we will deal with like mature themes, and that got me happy because I don't hate Veilguard, but some of those cringy lines were those Disney like they're terrible.
Did you see the oof comment? In a fantasy game, people are saying oof.
I saw a lot of things I didn't really like, and the art style as well. I do not like the art style, so I don't know whether for Mass Effect, if you change that, but see, to me, those are fundamentals, right? You're changing the art style, you're changing the themes, and if you say, hey, it's going to be less sexual as well, okay, you're changing that as well. So like, I have a body of evidence to say I'm not a fan of this game, etc., etc., etc. So I think that's important. But if it's a whole new IP, as you said that yourself, I mean, there's nothing to hate because not every IP is going to be sexy. Not every IP is going to be, it's going to have these type of cleavages, nudity, all that kind of stuff. So I think I guess we're actually in agreement then. However, maybe I'm still disagreeing with Loke, which is, yes, there are stupid takes out there, and yes, you can call them out for it, and there's no like I disagree with your take. If the take is terrible, you can say that's nonsense. That's in the same way how somebody you can call out somebody if they say
crazy, dude. That example is wild. The one that you gave.
What do you mean wild? What's
crazy,
wild?
Dude. I think you exaggerated. I don't think you've seen one person give that exact take and not say it like ironically.
Well, I mean, I'm being extreme because I just wanted to let you know that like there are takes, like we don't have to agree with everybody.
If you're going to be extreme, it's fine.
Okay. I mean, yeah, then we agree. Then you can call out people for their takes. But I mean, just to be clear, like it was centered around the idea that somebody can say that, this game doesn't have enough like cleavage or sexy stuff or whatever it is, and you said that's an okay take, and I was like, that's not an okay take. Like we can call that out and say like you're crazy. Like we can say your opinion sucks.
Again, Taye, the general idea behind it, I still think it's fine for you to say that. But if you give the extreme example that you gave, then that's crazy. But in general, you are allowed to. And I think it's fine to say that I don't want to play this game, or I don't think this game is good because I don't like that the characters are not sexy. The same way, it's fine. No one will ever call you a misogynist for saying I don't want to play this game because the character's not cool. No one's gonna crucify you in the name of woke. No one's going to do that. They'll say, oh, you just don't. You think the character's not cool? All right, cool, whatever. And how do you define cool? By what you see, brother. And how do you define sexy? By what you see, brother. So again, my point, I stand by my point. People are allowed to look at what they see on the screen and on a trailer and say, that does not attract me. I don't like that because I don't like short people. I don't like tall people. People are allowed to not like things, dude. We're not yet in this communist dystopia when everything is supposed to be acceptable. Everyone is beautiful. Everyone is everything. We're not yet there, Ty. One day we will get there, but we're not there yet. People are still allowed to say they don't like what they see and make decisions off of that. But if you make these extreme examples, like the one you just gave, obviously, yeah, then I'll say that's a crazy ass take. But
yeah, but even in the middle ground though, like my
in
point
general, I
still
think it's
stands,
fine.
right? My
I think
point
it's
was
fine.
just that, yeah, listen, if you don't, if you say like, yes, I don't want to play this game because, you know, whatever, the characters are not sexy. I mean, that's a fair take. But
Your
if you're gonna like
problem is with
really,
the sexy dude, which is why I gave the example of cool. When someone says they don't
cool,
want to
okay,
play this game because the character's not cool, you and all the people that support your idea of shutting up people that like sexy, right? None of you will say a thing.
yeah, but okay,
But the
so
thing is, how do you
cool is a
define
trait,
cool?
right?
How do you identify cool? You don't identify cool by playing. You don't define cool by playing. You look and you see, and then if it clicks for you, right, for your eyeballs, then the character is cool. Then what they're wearing is cool. Their move sets are cool, and if it's not cool, you can say you don't feel it's cool, and no one is going to crucify you in the name of woke. But the day you say the character's not sexy, I don't like it, now you're the guys from WW2 that lost.
Yeah, but
Why? Because you guys want to police. You guys want to police attraction.
Damn.
You guys want to police attraction. That's the problem. You don't. You want people. You want people to think like you think, and anyone that deviates, anyone that doesn't follow the church, they're a heretic. The emperor from Warhammer would love you, Ty. He would.
Not a heretic, a loser. Look, there's a difference.
Regardless, you still want to bunch people that disagree with you into a little corner and do whatever it is that you want to do to them. You're not okay with letting people just live their lives on the other lane and not doing what you think is right.
No, that's fine. They could do whatever they want. I'm just saying we can ridicule their opinion, right? In the same way we ridicule the girl, that girl's opinion who talked about Wukong. I mean, it's just give and take, right?
Ridiculed her because she didn't finish. She didn't finish the game because she said there was no women in the game, but it turns out you have to go deeper into the game, and then there's a whole bunch of women.
No, but you see, even before that, I already said her opinion is stupid. Like that's not a reasonable take. There's no women in the game, so this game gets a minus point, and that person should not be taken seriously, and we should laugh at that person because that is a loser take. That is giving
I don't
giving
think it's a loser take.
Of course,
I think people are allowed to look for whatever they want to look for in games. Like going back to my point about me being a story heavy guy. Anyone that follows me and wants to hear my take on an RPG, maybe there are people that love stories and they like intricate characters. Then my take is this game sucks because it's an RPG. It's a shallow RPG. The story is not deep. I'm sure there's people that will say no. That's wrong. It's a video game. Why are you worried about the story? That's a stupid take. So what now?
No, because the story can actually fundamentally change the game. Putting a female boss in the game instead of a man or whatever it is, that doesn't fundamentally change the game. The game is still the same.
Yes,
music, still the same. No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. Yes,
no,
it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, definitely it does not.
If Sniper Wolf was a dude, changes the whole dynamic between Snake and Sniper Wolf. It changes the whole
but we're
game.
talking about bosses though, right?
Yeah, you're saying it doesn't matter if the boss is a man or a woman, and what I'm telling you is it does.
I'm saying no. You can talk about in a material change. That doesn't materially change the score of the game. Like I don't understand. Like because to me now, D just sounds like DEI. Because now we're just saying like, okay, well, if the more diversity, then the better your product.
No, that's not what I said. That's not.
Yeah, no, but you just said
difference.
Yeah, but if that person is saying, if that person is saying, if you put a woman in the game, the score gets higher, that is DEI. Because now we can say, put a black person in the game, higher score. Put a lesbian in the game, higher score. Right, now we're talking about putting different types of people in the game to get a higher score. I'm saying equality is the quality.
That's a fucked up take. Yeah, I would agree with that. That's a take I would not want to see. But again, like every theory, and I've said this a million times, like every theory that's ever been theorized, there's exceptions. And if you're going to discount a theory because there's exceptions, that means no theory is right. That means we can't say anything about anything because there's exceptions to everything. Do you want to engage in that conversation, Ty?
I didn't quite follow. Say that again.
It seems pointless.
I think I missed what you were saying there.
You missed what I was saying.
The theory part. It was like the
I'm saying you're bringing up an exception. Which is why you even had to go extreme with your example. What I'm trying to say is, my theory still stands that people should be allowed to pick, to criticize or support games based on whatever metrics they want in general, because 9 out of 10 people are reasonable. Now you bring up an example. Hold on. You bring up the example of one unreasonable person, and now my theory doesn't stand because of the 10% of unreasonable people. Based off of that, we can't talk about anything, because everything that you bring up has an exception. And if exceptions, let me finish. If exceptions are allowed into every conversation, then no conversation can take place, because everything has an exception. So again, my question is, do you want to engage in that type of discussion?
I think here's my confusion then. So the person I brought up was the female reviewer who said Black Myth Wukong, whatever, minus score because it doesn't have women. I'm saying that happened. This was a publication that people go on. I'm saying, are you saying that, oh, that's an okay take, reasonable take, or can you say that's a stupid take?
What I'm saying is that is an exception, because you brought up that example to challenge my point that we should allow everyone to have their own metrics for grading games because it's their time or their money. What you did to counter my point, right, to counter my theory, was bring up an extreme, an outlier, an exception. And what I'm saying is, you know what? True, this specific exception does buck my point. But my question is, are we going to sit here now and bring in exceptions for every single discussion that we have? Because in my point of view, if one exception or if a few exceptions are allowed to come into a discussion about the large majority, then we can't have a discussion. Because every time you bring up any point, Taye, all I have to do is bring up one exception, and then we can't discuss anything.
But aren't these all exceptions though? Like, because most people don't judge games based on gender or race or any of these things. So the conversation itself is an exception. I'm saying the conversation itself is an exception. But I'm so within that conversation, what I'm saying is that within this exception conversation we're having, these people we're talking about are the exception. And I'm saying we can
You're saying most people don't judge games on appearance of the characters.
No, I'm talking about appearance of the characters. Like Concord is a perfect example. Like we were talking about.
This is not about because let's not forget why we're here. What we're talking about here. This is about Concord. This is about the appearance of the characters.
Yeah, but right? I was okay. Well, I was talking about gender and sex, but okay. If you talk about like attractive characters,
most people care, dude. I know in the communist utopia of 2037, no one's going to care. Right? Everyone's going to be beautiful, everything is acceptable, and all this other stuff. But today, right now, people care.
Okay.
All right. Banti, welcome.
Was Concord the only topic today?
It certainly was not, but it's a banger.
I'm just disgusted with this game at this point.
That's why I put up Dragon Age, because I'd like to move on, honestly. Anyways, so Dragon Age, the Veilguard's coming out tomorrow.
It's fucking
yeah, let's go around the table. Ushers, are you looking forward to Dragon Age, the Veilguard? What do you think is going to be the score and the reception from the gaming community?
So I think what you see now is indicative of what's going to happen going forward. they're gonna rip this game a new one. Like, this game has got so much material for so many. I actually just think sometimes these guys are purposely just walk into this. But in terms of scores, first of all, I noticed that the Metacritic reviews stopped coming in, which means that all the codes that BioWare has given out have now been used up. All those people that put out all their reviews, it's about 50 something for PlayStation.
They've all given it a 9 out of 10.
They've all, well, not all of them, like a good 2/3 of them have. And for me, those are some of the most suspect reviews. Go listen to that IGN review. And
Hey, leave IGN out of this.
What is it? The story, like almost none, or the gameplay. Aside from the stuff that they like, there's nothing that they talk about to address how Dragon Age is supposed to work at all. And a lot of them are like that. But yeah, so you're gonna get you have a third right now that said, you know what, the game is okay. It's average at best. It's not a great Dragon Age game, and you have the 10 out of 10s from Eurogamer, etc., etc. So that's not going to change drastically. But I think a lot of the guys that are going to come out now, which is another 30 or so reviewers, are all going to be sort of critical of the game, and are going to look at it from a perspective of is it a BioWare game in the traditional sense of what a BioWare game is supposed to be? They're going to look at, is it a good CRPG or RPG compared to what's out there in the market? And then they're going to critique things like gameplay, the story, and so forth. That's what I wanted to see. The same things that Matty and Skill Up focused on. None of those other reviews talk about any of that stuff. So I want to see more of that, and that's what we're going to see. And it's probably going to drop the score. I think for the PlayStation 1, it's probably going to go down to about 80, 79.
PlayStation 1.
The PlayStation 1.
The PlayStation score, he's saying. The PlayStation 1, as in the PlayStation score.
Okay.
The Xbox is way too high because there's too few reviews. I don't know how that's going to change, but that'll probably drop to about 84, 83. And the PC one is going to tank. The PC one, I see it going into the 60s because of the fact that those guys are going to bury that game so deep. Because of the fact that of the whole thing that happened, the whole narrative that took place with people not receiving codes that actually went to the preview event, and that whole drama that's going on. So I predict an overall score of, as I said in the one before when we had our conversation, it'll probably land at around 75 overall if you combine all those reviews.
Sales? Yes. Guess what the sales are
sales, as I said before, it will not go over. It'll probably maximum 2 million. What's going to be interesting is going to be the players on Steam. I predict that they'll probably be around 15 to 20 million max. Not million, sorry. 15 to 20,000 max players on over the weekend. Concurrent players, yes.
Concurrent peak, 20,000.
Yeah. 20,000. It won't get to Mass Effect Legendary Edition levels. It's just too much. It's too divisive of a game to do that. And people are gonna this is gonna be worse than what happened with Starfield in terms of I think pushback from gamers, especially PC gamers. That's my prediction.
All right. Tai, before we go to the Dragon Age fanboy, I mean, I know Matt is chomping.
I'm definitely not a Dragon Age fanboy. That's a
Matt wants to come for your ass, Oshus. But it's fine. He'll get you soon. Tai,
no, Oshus is cool. I'm not mad at Oshus.
What do you think the reception is going to be for Dragon Age Velgat? Tai?
I think it's a bit of a polarizing good game. Just in the sense that it seems that some reviewers took some issues with some parts. So I think it's a tolerance level. Maybe you don't like the art style. Maybe you don't like the corniness of it. But even within that, it was praised for its good ending. Some characters did a good job. So I think it's just one of these games where some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it, some people are going to be right in the middle. I think the Metacritic score of 84, that's kind of where it's going to stay around that region, 80 in the 80s. I don't see it dropping to the 70s, maybe on PC. But even on PC, and from what I was seeing from the PC gamers, they were quite happy with EA's lack of DRM, and some of the other things that EA was doing. So the PC players are not actually angry at this game. They actually like the fact that EA is doing these things, and what they're saying is that they want other developers to actually follow EA's approach. So, and that's what PC gamers primarily care about. They don't really care about these other talking points. Now you're gonna get people who are gonna, attack the game based on top scars? Of course you are. You're gonna attack. People are gonna attack the game based on some woke stuff, and as usual, like I was saying, those opinions should be just quickly dismissed because they're garbage. However, I do recognize the game has some issues, but listen, I think 8 out of 10 is probably where it's going to stand. I think that's fine. I think that's good for BioWare. I think they needed this kind of win after coming from Andromeda and Anthem. So regardless of how we feel about this game, this is a step in the right direction, or at least in a better direction than what the studio was. I'm sure the employees are feeling proud of themselves. And I think Andrew Wilson said that, like, hey, he thinks this game is actually going to do well. The projections are probably looking solid. So yeah, I think it's going to be good. Is it going to get Game of the Year or whatever, like be nominated? Maybe not, probably not. But, you know, right now the score says it could be nominated. So we'll see. Oh, in terms of sales, I don't know if it's going to be their best-selling game. That's going to be a hard ball because I think Dragon Age Inquisition was their best-selling game. So it might fall somewhere in the middle of Inquisition and maybe Mass Effect 3. Or it could, you know, be a little bit low like Mass Effect 2 to Inquisition. So the question I think we need to ask is, like, is EA going to see this as a success or good enough? If it's good enough, I think that's good for a studio that was, you know, people were afraid was going to close down. If it's a success, that's great for the for EA and the studio. But we'll see.
All right, welcome in Retro, the family man gamer. Retro, did you see that we sacked Ten Hag? We're back. We're coming back. Man United is back. The issue is what Dragon Age fans want. That's interesting. That's interesting. Vince Vega.
Entire PC players, the PC version is already sitting at 79 with 24.
Oshus, we can barely hear you.
Osha sounds far away.
Oh, sorry. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
I've got a bad habit of abandoning the mic. So I'm saying, just to your point about the PC gamers, the PC game version of the game is already sitting at 79 Metascore with 24 reviews. And I see that going down drastically. The PlayStation one probably a little bit, but I don't see it going below 80.
Yeah, I can see the PC one going down a good bit, but you know, I think it's very different audiences as well. So, would you say most Dragon Age fans are on console or PC?
I would say
console.
A good portion. It probably is 50-50 because the game has done considerably. The series has done considerably well on console, and there's a huge PC audience as well. But I think a lot of the console guys are also very much into all this, the current narrative or the current conversation. So that could also affect the score as well.
An interesting side topic I'd like us to discuss at some point is like the influence of these side topics. Like, if you guys think they have that much of an influence on people's buying decisions, or whether people just buy on, you know, the reviews from the people they trust, and that's all.
There was
you mean like the stuff going on around the game, like everything around the game, or
the narrative?
Yeah. Oh, okay, got it.
There was
we'll get to that after. Hold on, Ty. We'll get to that.
That's fine. Yeah.
Matt, please tell us what you think the reception is going to be for this Game of the Year contender.
I gotta make it clear first off, I'm not a Dragon Age fanboy. I think if anyone here has more of a claim to that, I mean, from what we've talked about, I think it'd be Oshus, because Oshus is, as far as I know, the only one here who's played all the Dragon Ages. I own all of them. I've tried playing all of them. Inquisition probably clicked the most with me. One, Origins, and two were like my brain. I struggle with turn-based. Your game has to be fucking incredible for me to like really click with turn-based gameplay. It has to be like masterpiece level kind of thing, and it usually doesn't happen for me. But so if the question is like, what do I think how this reviews? I mean, it's like an 84, 83 right now, on the most reviewed platform, which I think is PlayStation, right?
Yeah.
So Yeah, I think it stays around that. It'll stay around the 83 on PlayStation. It'll stay around the 83, 84. You said it was 79 on PC, right?
Yep, it's
Oh,
79 on PC.
79 on PC. So yeah, I think it stays. I think what we have now in terms of the scores is kind of what we're going to see. It might fluctuate up 1 or 2 points. It might fluctuate down 1 or 2 points. But I think the score we have now is the score it's going to be, pretty much. I don't think it's going to deviate too far off of that after release. I think if it does, I'm kind of in agreement with Aushis. It probably deviates more on PC. But I also think PC could. I think there's a chance PC doesn't deviate too much, or maybe it goes up a little bit, because I do, from what I understand, what's happening on PC is this is apparently like one of the best PC ports of a game in a very long time. I did see that Steam Deck verified. Yeah, I mean, this is coming from Digital Foundry. This is I don't know. I haven't. I mean, we certainly haven't played it yet, but I mean, Digital Foundry has said that this is like probably the most impressive PC port they've seen from a technical standpoint this generation. So that's something that's positive going for the PC side. I know if I end up liking the game the way I think I'm going to like the game on Xbox, I'll probably end up buying it on PC as well, just because I do have a Steam Deck and I would like to play that on the go every now and then. But yeah, and as for the sales, I mean, God, I certainly think it's going to sell more than 2 million. I think Aushis is a little bit low there, just because of the Dragon Age name. I think it sells more than 2 million. If it launches and it actually hits with like its whatever audience, if it actually hits, then I don't see why it can't sell 3, 4, 5 million. But I think just the name alone is going to get it over that 2 million mark, especially because it's a big multi-platform thing across 3 different platforms.
Matt, I think BioWare is hoping that people who are playing the game are going to have your approach, in terms of like, it's people that don't care about like the strategic combat, that just want like a good sort of brawler / action game with some RPG elements. If they get more people like Matt, the game is going to do well.
I think they will, though. That's where I'm coming from. Is I kind of think they will get that, because like you look online right now, and I mean I was on a show with you a couple weeks ago, or maybe last week, I can't remember, where we were talking about Dragon Age, and you were saying how, like, as a fan of the series, this doesn't look like it's up your alley because they've changed like certain gameplay mechanics and everything. And like, I know for me, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm a fan of the Dragon Age series. I've tried. Inquisition was pretty decent. I enjoyed my time with it, but I'm not this diehard Dragon Age fan. But from what I've seen of Dragon Age Inquisition, this looks like something that's more up my alley, and it's a different RPG than what I normally would play. But I look at what I've seen so far, and I'm like, this looks fun. This looks like something I can enjoy. And I think there'll be a lot of people, a surprising amount of people, who have that sentiment, probably.
One thing that Andrew Wilson also brought up was lack of competition, just in the sense that there isn't really many other RPGs, especially with this brand name that's coming out around this time. So he mentioned that that's going to help it. I mean, with like, if Avowed was here, I think Avowed would have, challenged it somewhat, but it's not
true.
Well, what he forgot to mention, or what he didn't sort of like, I don't know if he knows about this, but he should.
There's
a lot coming, but another big sort of like role-playing ish game is coming out. Is on beta, I believe. Monster Hunter. That's from Monday up until Thursday, I believe. So that is, again, especially on console, especially on PlayStation, that's going to have a lot of those guys that are looking for like customizable characters. You're going to see a lot of comparisons when that game I think it's coming out on beta tomorrow for like the consoles. I'm not sure, but you're gonna see a lot of comparisons with the character creator and all that type of stuff. The only thing I say about this whole thing is that at no point in time did you have to make a divisive game. You could have made a game that sort of appeals generally to the audience you're trying to target and a brand new audience. But I think you polarized a lot of your guys that are actually returning customers, and you're going to lose all those. What that is going to be, I'm not sure in terms of numbers.
But where's the fun in that, Ushers?
I know, right? Like for us, it's great. Like for me, this is going to give me so much content, especially now that I've started a channel. I'm gonna take time and just gonna make Dragon Age stuff. Like I'm just gonna I'm gonna make a name for myself. Yeah.
Did you hear that he's actually his engagement with Lenny Kravitz's daughter is actually off?
I saw that.
Actually got
and I saw that Ben and Jennifer are back together again, apparently.
Again? Oh my goodness. Listen, if it's true love, what can we do? What can we do? All right, so moving on to the other angle, right? Moving on to the other angle of this one. Do you guys think that this game is going to get affected at all with the whole controversy about the sus reviews?
I think the controversial parts. Oh, sorry, man. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. There.
I think the controversial parts to me that will materially kind of affect the game would be the cringe stuff, right? So I saw Matty showed some of the voice acting, some of the very Disney-like, Pixar-like situations. To me, those were more triggering than anything else that's a possible option. I think the aesthetics is the aesthetics. You know, I think it's not great, but I don't think it's going to be a major factor why people don't play this game. In terms of the, you know, like whatever the DI or woke elements, like I think people just kind of have it a bit messed up. Dragon Age was Mass Effect in general. Sorry, not Mass Effect. BioWare was always this kind of company. So there's nothing really.
They were never
there.
woke. There's a huge difference between that and what it is now. Like I people love to say this about games or developers that were progressive. It's one thing to be progressive and you know how to tell a nuanced story.
But how do you define woke then?
Well, it's very simple. When you start to hit me over the head, have you ever watched that movie, Don't Be a Menace? Every single 5 minutes, you have to hit me over the head with a message. That's
okay, so basically what you're saying is that their writing has gotten worse, which is what we saw in Andromeda, which is what we saw in Anthem as well. So it's not really woke there, because by definition, they've always been like this, right? They've always been very open. They've never been very open with LGBTQ stuff.
Well, I mean, like somebody made a good comparison. It's one situation. It's one thing when you have an entire cast or a huge part of the cast and part of the story being built around that, versus when there are situations and circumstances. Oh, by the way, this character is gay. Oh, by the way, that character is trans, and that takes up like a literal but meaningful part of the game. But like, it's not like a third of the game is just that. And you can see in the right.
Isn't every character like romanceable in this game?
I don't know. Like
I wouldn't say
like
that. Yes, I wouldn't say it's gay.
Yeah, they're romanceable. They're romanceable.
Yeah, didn't they have romanceable gay characters in 1, 2, and Inquisition?
You have to say that you're non-binary. You have to select the option that you're non-binary, and then all the characters become.
Well, what if you're not non-binary? Can you just select?
No, if you select male, you cannot. It's not all the characters are open. You have to say.
Well, then it's okay. So then it's like Cyberpunk, where if I select male, then I can't romance Judy, and if I select female, then I can't romance. Okay, so that's not a big deal.
But like I heard that like it's only the male and the default female options that are locked into romances. If you say non-binary, you can romance anyone you want.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what non-binary people. That's kind of what non-binary like.
No, that doesn't make any sense, because you can be male and still want to hook up with other males. It doesn't make any sense.
Sure.
So it should be open to everyone. It shouldn't be.
Well, in that case,
if you're male, It is not open. If you're female, it is not open. You have to pick this specific section that.
Look, my whole point with this is like, well, then where's this energy for any other RPG that is literally the exact same? Like, why is it all of a sudden Dragon Age does it, and it's like, oh, woke nonsense bullshit, you're pushing an agenda, versus literally any other RPG ever that always does this.
Okay, can I answer Matt's question?
Yeah, hold on. You just brought up Cyberpunk, Matt.
Forget Cyberpunk. Any RPG.
What I'm saying,
anything Bethesda's made. Okay.
What I'm saying specifically is the difference here, right? That I'm seeing personally, is that all of those other games have male and female. This one has non-binary. That's what I'm saying.
That's the big deal. Oh my God!
You asked me what the question was, what the difference was. I gave you the difference.
That should not be a big deal.
I'm not saying it's a big deal. I'm telling you the difference. Go ahead, Oshin.
I heard you. I'm not. Look, my bad. I'm not arguing with you. I'm not. Sounds like it, but I'm not. I promise you. Continue.
So I get your concerns, Matt. Like, then, like, how fair is that? Like, for instance, one of the biggest gripes I had with Cyberpunk is that you couldn't romance Clay, and like for me, that was a lost opportunity because again, it's a very well written character. To Taya's point, that the writing has a lot to do with this in terms of like you get good writers that can give you nuanced characters that are of. I don't even know why characters of color are even a thing in terms of conversation, because I thought we overcame that back in the PS1 era. But like you get a lot of writers that can write very good characters that have like either a trans background, that can write like, for instance, gay characters. I mean, Mass Effect 3 did this. A lot of BioWare games did this. But at no point in time, regardless of what you like, what you believe in, at no point in time did that get caught up in the messaging. So another game that does it that recently just released is for instance it's Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk does it very well. They've even got like that big billboard of a trans character that the media was complaining about, saying they're sexualizing the character. So they've done a lot of these things. A lot of other RPG developers have done this. Baldur's Gate did this as well. But again, it goes back to what I said to Taye before, that it has a lot to do with BioWare's own legacy, where they come from. A lot of this negativity is not just because it's this game and it happens to have trans characters. It's BioWare's own pedigree and what they've done in the past and how nuanced this writing was. Yes, they could. The reason that they were so brave to tackle these topics and these issues that were very complicated back then, if you think they're complicated now, they were very complicated back then, but they did it with such nuance that they won you over with them. Now it's like a freaking kid, like, you know, performing surgery with a blunt nose object. It's so in your face, and it's part of the messaging. It's part of the marketing. It's part of like what the developers talk about instead of talking and focusing about the story. So again, if the media and the developers were cautious when they made these stories and they wrote them in a way that they understood that, especially now in such a with all this political, you know, sort of turmoil around all these subjects, you need to practice nuance in your writing. You need to do it in such a way. You need the best writers, better than back then, even in my opinion. You can't have this being written by guys that are like sounding like they're writing these things for for Tumblr. That's what this comes off as. Like, a lot of people are saying, I can't believe that Tumblr died, and then all those people sort of like got into every other industry, who are like, and these just come off as bad fanfic. And this is just my opinion, what I've seen as a fan of this genre. And I hate it when people say this thing, but well, BioWare was always woke. I'm like, no, like, examine that. What do you mean by that? Like, yes, they were always progressive. They always had these nuanced stories, but they were told so well.
Well, Ushers, sorry to call. I know, Matt, you want to respond to that. I just want to interject real quick. When I say BioWare was always woke, it means that they used to kind of, they always were very diverse, open, LGBTQ, all that kind of stuff, right? The everything you brought up has nothing to do with them not being woke or woke. it has to do with the writing, because in Mass Effect Andromeda we didn't see this we didn't see all these problems, but we did see is the writing was bad in Mass Effect Andromeda. We saw the writing was bad in Anthem. So when you critique Dragon Age Veilguard on this point, what you're critiquing is the writing. So they are still woke. It's just the writing you're critiquing.
I don't think it's the same thing. I
mean, we can walk it though.
Like no, but like, okay, I get what you're saying, but then again, like, I don't want to get into the word. All I'll say that let's use what that word means or what it represents, right? It represents you having progressive ideas, political ideas in your video games, or any complicated ideas. And I know that Luke can't mention this game, but like Metal Gear has a lot of complicated ideas, including incest.
Oh yeah.
etc.
What do you say, Luke?
How?
I didn't hear the game.
Go ahead.
but like, you need nuance
Never
to be
change,
able
man.
to get those ideas across in a way that is not gonna catch people off guard or like, you know, look like you're taking a
Yeah,
side,
listen,
blah, blah,
I
blah.
can. The reason why Forspoken caught people off guard wasn't because it was a black character. It was because, you know, they felt like, hey, listen, you've written a character and she doesn't really sound like us. She sounds like an extreme version of us. She's saying things, she's doing things, she's trying too hard. The problem wasn't the character, the problem was the writing, right? So what you said there, like, hey, listen, woke is like progressive, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, BioWare is progressive. In fact, BioWare was, you know, LG and B back then. Now T and Q has been added to it, and I expect BioWare to embrace that in the same way I expect most RPG companies to embrace that, because it's all about expressing yourself through the game. Now, your issue isn't woke or not. Your issue is the writing. And we can, like I said, we could go a step back. Forget about Veilguard. Anthem's writing was shockingly bad.
Okay.
And Mass Effect Andromeda's writing was disgustingly bad. So I'm saying that, like, in those instances, you would say Andromeda's writing was bad. And what you're saying right now is, Dragon Age Veilguard's
But it's got
writing
to do with
is also
the
bad.
ideology. You can't remove the ideology from it, because again, like, if you look at like decisions like, you know, the surgery thing, that did not need to be an issue. But the fact that the surgery thing is not even under Scars, where you choose Scars, this has got a specific part of the game where you have to do that specific thing. And to me, I have to ask then, like, the question is like, okay, cool. If that's what you're saying, if that's what BioWare is saying, well, you know what? We expect our audience to be open to these ideas, and we think they're all going to be on board with this. That's fine. It's their right to do so. But I'm saying, if you're BioWare, then don't be surprised if most people feel excluded by that, because you've done everything to exclude a certain group that's in the minority of your customers, and you've done nothing to say, I'm going to double down on the audience that I did have. And then I'll go back to this.
People shouldn't be excluded on options, though.
No, that's the thing. They did exclude people on the options, and I've discussed this with you. What if I want to make a woman that looks like a real South African woman, for instance? Can I make that Taya in that game?
Blessed by God, South African women.
Let's
my
hold up a
God.
second. The point still remains that
Yes, which is...
Dragon Age Veilguard still has probably one of the best character creations.
No, it doesn't.
Wait. In Mass Effect, in BioWare's whole history, they have a superior character creation than the past. So they're giving more options to people.
To who?
It doesn't.
Wait.
They've given more options to who? To which, like that's is this option that people want?
If you're a black person, do you have more options with Veilguard than the past?
No, I don't. I have less options.
No, sorry. Okay, I'll ask again. Are there more black options in Veilguard than, let's say, Mass Effect Andromeda?
Maybe. But I don't see how that's inclusive of like the audience that you're targeting.
No,
because again, like,
this thing about options. If I had 5 options,
my question is, who are you?
If I had 5 options before and now I have 20, I have more. Now maybe I want 28, but I still have more options.
Okay, cool. That's a perfect example. So you're giving people more options. So like, for instance, let's say you choose options like, you know what, I want to make sure that every sort of type of freckles are represented in the game.
That's more options.
Like those are more options, but who are those options for? Like, all they've done is they've given more options to a very minute number of the people that play the game. But to the people that are the majority, like they've excluded most of the women that play the game. Their body types are not represented.
I mean,
And to me, like,
hold on.
can
When you say most of the women, I feel like that's very hyperbolic. Like, you're coming to the conclusion that most of the women they can't fit their bodies in that game. I think that
yes,
I don't think that's true.
I'm 100%.
If you're saying if you're saying the average South African woman doesn't represent that game, fair enough. But if you're saying Dragon Age women, BioWare, Mass Effect fans, video games, most women do not feel represented in that game. No 100%. Way. That's no shot.
I would. There's even a survey that came out, and actually, I don't know if I reshared this on my Twitter that says that.
So besides the survey, can we all agree that all women have hips, or 99% of women have hips? Can we agree?
Look, can you stop playing this video and please and put on like Dragon Age like characters or whatever it is, so we can actually like get a proper gauge of this, because it feels like they'll have hips. Yeah, they'll have hips, of course.
They all have bigger, rounder hips than we do, than men. Yes.
Yes.
And chest wise.
Come on, Tai. Come on. What are we talking about? We all saw that character creator. We saw the max settings. There's no hips. There's no tits. There's nothing. Come on, bro.
That's body type 2 that you can create there. It's not a female.
Because I squat, right? Because I squat, I have more hips than those characters. And if I keep doing chest the way I am, in 2 years I'll have more tits than the maximum breast size.
Maybe you guys live in Mozambique, South Africa. I'll tell you right now, most of the Dragon Age character creations in Ireland and in Europe is more represented in that game. I mean, listen, you're right. We guys talk about hips and all these things. These are very African traits. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. These are
very American traits. Like most of the customers are American. Matt,
black women. Is BioWare's are they mostly black women?
White women in America have hips, bruv. Like, have you seen the ratio?
Hold on. I mean, we went from talking about South African women.
We have an American here. Hold on. We have an American here. Matt.
Woke. Speak.
Do the white women in America have hips?
Well,
I mean, that's not what we're talking about, though.
I mean, to answer your question, yes, I've dated a few white women with hips.
All right.
Let's also be.
What about you, Luke, down in Texas?
The average Westerner. Texas? Hold on, the average Westerner.
The white women in Africa are different. The white women in Africa are different.
The ones in Texas.
South Africa. Oh, buzz off! Everyone knows they don't live in Texas.
You know, thick women are in Texas, like white women.
Oh, she's.
I mean, wait. We do know that most people in the West are fat, right?
That's
well,
true.
Can you make characters that represent those body types?
Massive, love it.
Can you make a fat character in the game? Is that the question?
The question is, can you make a character that whose dimensions represent? I don't mean just a fat character that looks like a male fat character. That looks like a female with large breasts because of the fact that she's got, like, excess or heavy.
Huge tits.
Exactly. Can you do that in this game? Or can you just make a
character tell us, Ray?
Or a guy that's, big?
I don't know. Look is not showing the right.
In terms of feminine traits, but again, when we get the game, please, Matt, when you get the game, please just go and try and do that and see, let's see how far you get.
Well, I'm gonna make me in that game. I'm gonna do the same thing I did in Mass Effect. I'm gonna make me.
His communist sensibilities won't let him do it. It's offensive.
Wait, what?
You shouldn't sexualize your
Hold
character.
on, Love. Who are you talking to? What's going on?
I'm talking to Tai. You shouldn't sexualize characters. It's wrong.
Look, do you think this character has no hips?
What, this character? Let's see. Let's zoom out. Hold on. Let's see. They zoomed out a couple of times.
I'm not gonna lie. Like the idea that. Hold on, but the idea that we think that this character creation doesn't represent the the majority of female players playing this game. It's such a wild take to me.
Really?
Most people playing this game are not these curvy, thick, sexy, big chested chicks. They're not. In fact, I would argue and say most people playing this game are probably white women.
My guy, if you cut this off, this is a male. You can tell someone this is a male's bot, and no one would fight you.
I mean, it's definitely missing something there, but sure.
No one's gonna fight you here. But I'm sure if I pull up the TFD character creator, you will see something here. You will see something here.
What's TFD?
First Descendant?
The First Descendant. You will see something here on the sides.
Well, there's no character creator in First Descendant.
You can customize costumes and stuff, but you can't.
Yeah, you customize your costume. But
if you see a picture of the characters like this, you can clearly see. You can cut off this part here, right? And then you can clearly see something here that a lot of people like to pretend doesn't exist.
I'm not gonna lie. I think you guys are comparing maybe Botswana, South Africa to the rest of the world. This looks like a normal person that I'll see walking on the street.
I'm following examples. I'm following examples of Americans treat the rest of the world like it's America.
I've been to the United States. I can say there's differences there.
I mean, listen, I've got a girl in my neighborhood that looks like this. Change the hair color.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like you guys are probably doing something like you're taking your lived experiences and your culture, and you're trying to say like, well, BioWare should make this.
Isn't that what work has taught us to do, though? That's what the whole culture has told us to do.
But we're having an objective. No.
Like, but Taya, you have no numbers to back up what you're saying. You're just saying this. Well, in Europe, this is what I've seen. Like, I would love for you to say, actually just get me a sort of like to say, because I'm hearing a lot of women specifically saying,
I don't know, man. I've been to the UK. I've been to Spain, Italy, France. Like, I travel around all these places. Like, I'm telling you, the one thing that they all say, I'm talking about, because remember, Europe is a white country. The one thing that they all say predominantly is that they want hips, they want asses, they want breasts, they want to do the BBLs. Like, I don't want to be more like black girls. And they specifically mention you guys' location, South African girls. Nigerian girls talk about South African girls so much as well. So when you guys say, oh, South African, this and this, I completely agree with you. But I'm saying this person right here is a normal person over here.
But my thing is then, like, Ty, like, this is African guys.
Let's have an honest conversation here. Let's have an honest conversation. I lived in South Africa for about 7 to 9 years. I'm forgetting, but I was there long enough that I qualified for the South African nationality, nah? Why are the women built like that? What's the secret?
Something in the water.
Dude, tell us, because no one's watching this podcast. You can tell us this is a safe space. No one's going to find out.
What do you mean? Like, I don't know. Like,
what you don't know, dude? Every single one.
The only thing I can say is that,
slender, yellow bone, everything. She can be a vendor, Kosa, Pedi, all of them. But it has to be in South Africa.
Even the Caucasian girls here, I think, like, everyone's thick.
Even the white girls, dude. Even the white girls. Big whole ass, but no fat. Tell me what the secret is, Oshas. Tell us all. We're not going to tell anyone. I promise.
No, there's no secret. I think it's just the entry. A lot of us have like Khoi ancestry, like the Khoisan, like the original people, because we're all sort of like, you know, we all immigrants here, white or black. We didn't really come from this part of the world. It was mostly the Khoi people that were here, and we came from, like, you know, the Central Africa. They were Nigeria, Kenya, and those areas are. But like what happened with my tribe, or like where I come from, a lot of our people, we very much, when we arrived here, we mixed with the inhabitants a lot, to the point that even our languages like have a lot of like the sounds that a lot of people can't pronounce, like and all those things. They're all native to Southern Africa. So I think that's, and even with the Dutch, when they arrived here, they did the same thing. They intermingled with a lot of the local people. I think the stat last time I saw was like 60% of Dutch people have like some Khoi blood in them. So all of us sort of got a lot of DNA from the local peoples here. I suppose that's the long short of it historically. But I still think that doesn't address what Tai is saying. But I think Tai is wrong.
I think you're wrong for not telling us why.
No, there's no secret. Like, I mean, like, there's thick women in America, bro. There's thick women everywhere. But, like, there's just a huge concentration.
No. Anyone in the chat, go and Google South African women.
Don't do that.
Physique,
guys,
right?
don't listen to this guy.
Thick,
please.
Right? There's thick, and then there's South African women thick. Something there. Something's going on that side. I don't know what it is. And I was there for years, almost a decade. I was there for a minute. And I'm telling you.
Go on Instagram, look for South African. Don't do that. I'm kidding. Don't do that.
It's hectic. And then when you put in some house music, Jesus. Hey.
You're giving people wrong ideas. But again, you're letting Tai get away with a
with facts. That's what we're talking about. With facts. Because basically my point is that
okay, so here's the question from the Don. Here's the question from the Don. The Don Games point. But the Don Games point says for the sake of argument, if they're trying to be inclusive, why would they exclude a thicker body type?
That's a good question.
I mean, you can't include every what are we talking about here? Are we expecting them to have 1 million options? Like, what's the story?
Okay, so can I ask a question? So, in terms of
you asked a very specific question and you couldn't answer it, Tai. Come on, bro. Come on.
But in terms of population dynamics, do we have more people that identify as trans versus people with body types that are thick?
Thick.
Okay, but why is there an overrepresentation of people with affiliation or association with trans versus
this game could potentially have more black options and black hair than white options and white hair, but the majority of BioWare players and Japanese players are predominantly white. So should we say we should reduce the black options to get more to the white options?
I agree. Yes.
What is this take? Come on, guys. You guys are serious, right?
Tell me why is that a good
thing? Tai will put you up in his house for a week, no problem. No, sorry, Osha will put you up in his house in his house for a week. Get your ticket, brother. Get your ticket. Sorry, Osha, sorry.
No, I'm with Tai, why is that a thing? Look, okay, so let me get this straight. So Tai is saying there's no problem if the majority of the people that play your game are not represented in the games that they play. It's okay to overrepresent people that are not necessarily your target audience. And you should be okay with it if you're part of...
No. But they are the
here's the
target
thing.
audience.
I don't think they're overrepresenting anything. And your guys' argument, they would be underrepresenting.
So
on the opposite.
What he's saying, man, is he's saying that there's probably more black hair options here than there are white hair options. And probably. I'm okay, cool. Now I'm thinking as if I'm a white dude that has always bought Dragon Age, which is the majority of the people that buy these.
Facts tell us.
So, how is that okay? How is that okay for people that don't play, or the majority of the people that are not playing your game, to be represented more than the people that play your game?
Because at some point you can find out that maybe the people with white hairstyles don't really care that much. I'll be very honest. I don't know. When we look at the trans topic in this game, it's scarce. So my first question would be okay, well, how much resources does that take? Bro, you just join a line of paint onto someone's chest and it's done. It's probably, it could be literally just two hours of work or 10 minutes or whatever it is. If someone wants to even mod this into the game, it'll be mod in the game. Just like how this character has a scar on the side of her face. I don't think that took much time, right? Doing the hair and stuff took a lot of time. So I think there's just an element of I think we're thinking that just because someone got something doesn't mean they took something away from us. Right, it's kind of like what Sakurai said about Smash Brothers.
But no one can prove that point.
Easy doesn't mean you're gonna get another special character.
But my thing is, then you said yourself that there's probably more black hair types here, or African hair types, than they are Caucasian hair types or white hair types. But why would you spend that amount of resources representing people that are not necessarily part of your target demographic that normally buy your game? I just want to understand the logic and the reasoning to why they make these decisions.
Okay,
Because
so I'll
those-
say this. Okay, I'll answer
just-
that. I'll answer that. I don't know for sure if that's true, but what I can say is, like, with black hairstyles, for example, right? You might come to the conclusion that maybe based on data that the Caucasian guys generally choose the same kind of hairstyle, whereas black people as a group of people are way more expressive with their hairstyles. They do way more different things. So maybe it makes more sense to cater to that for that particular group. I think that makes sense.
Okay, so in my understanding, you're spending more resources to find out about the maybe 5 to 10% of your demographic versus saying, you know what do this person that plays my game or buys my game religiously want to see more in this game?
Yeah,
So
but
you're
we don't-
spending
we- yeah, but-
to cater
yeah,
to
yeah.
the minority of your and I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, but
here.
my point is, if we're going by the way you're thinking, then they would never ever have to cater to Asian, black people, or whoever, because the majority of these games are played by white people in general.
No, all I'm saying is that the way you allocate your resources and your attention is important to the target demographic.
Yeah, but you don't
Limit
know
your
how much
time.
resources it took to do the top scars. It could have taken
Neither
5
do you.
years.
Neither do
I
you.
know, but
Neither
exactly.
do
But
you,
all I'm
Ty.
saying, but
So
to his
how
point,
can you
what Ty is
assert?
saying-
Because we
but
can
Ty-
give a reasonable guess, right?
no.
He can also make his reasonable guess. You don't have evidence. He doesn't have evidence. Who's
But no,
right?
but look, what he's saying is that it's okay to spend resources catering for the minority of your players more than it
get
is.
what he's saying.
because
All I'm saying is that
of
you
their
can't
needs.
discount the other person saying that they have no evidence when you yourself have no evidence. That's all I'm saying.
No. I was making an educated guess with the top scars, right? Like, I
He
could
can
ask you
also
for.
make his educated guess, but what's his evidence? You're saying
No,
he
no,
has no
my que-
evidence on his educated
I'm
guess.
asking,
You
okay, what's
also
the
have no
educated guess?
evidence on your educated guess.
Okay, what's the educated guess that that they took resources to spend on 25 black hairstyles? Like, it's easy for me to make an educated guess. So no, not even me. It's easy for
But you
everyone
said
here
it's
to make
harder
an
to make
educated
black
guess.
hairstyles in the beginning of this, didn't you?
Sorry, what? Come again?
Didn't you say that it was harder to make like black hairstyles?
It's harder to do
than it
black hairstyles than to draw a line under someone's boob to show a scar. I'm saying scars are easier to make in video game programming. I'm sure we all agree that artistically it's just easier to do than to go and get hairstyles from different black people and then program that into the game, especially with the way it moves. Remember, a scar is just a line under your boob. So the educated guess is it doesn't take that much time.
Because what I'm saying is because these topics are so political, we don't know. We don't know how many meetings were allocated. We don't know how many times someone drew a line and they were like, that doesn't represent the line. Let's go and hire a consultancy firm so they can come and confirm this. And then the consultancy firm runs up the bill 2-3 weeks of consulting for that specific line. So again, you can make your educated guess, which is fine, right? But most of this podcast is educated guesses. What I'm saying is you can't discount Oshus's educated guess by saying he has no like specifics or no like tangible information, right, on his educated guesses when you also don't have tangible information on your
hold
educated
on.
guesses.
When did I say that
Let
again?
him make his guesses and make yours.
When did I say that? Because I think my educated guess is very
Earlier
reasonable, right?
Oshus made a guess. Oshus made a guess.
What was the
An
guess?
educated guess that you disagreed with
I don't think so.
about
What was the guess?
allocating time, and you said no, but these guys probably made this they probably made these cars or whatever in more record time, and you don't have evidence that they
Yes,
spent so much
because my
time and
educated
energy on
guess.
this. And my
because-
point was, and I'm not even picking your side. I'm not even against you on this one. I'm just saying you're not being congruent when you don't have any specifics from EA yourself in terms of how much time is allocated, but you want to challenge Oshus's educated guess not on the
Yes.
facts of what he said, but just because he doesn't have tangible
Nope,
information.
not at all.
And my point is, dude, if he doesn't have tangible information, it's fine, because neither do you. That's all I'm saying.
No, what I'm saying is that my educated guess on Ushers' educated guess is that it's too vague and it's probably out there. That to program black hair is probably going to cost more and it's an issue. Whereas a scar under your chest is probably going to be an easier thing to do. I'm using my educated guess to critique his educated guess.
And just now, I just used my educated guess to critique yours.
Okay.
Because
So
I'm talking about bringing in a consultancy firm.
I don't think there's anybody here who disagrees with
my
me.
point about bringing up a consultancy firm and those lines costing a whole lot of money, I'm not like picking it out of the air and I'm crazy and I'm wild. There's a $1 billion industry of consultancy firms that do exactly what I just brought up. So yes, it's possible that really it was just 15 minutes and then it was done. But it's also very possible that because this is a very sensitive topic in the world that we live in now.
Oh my God, what's that?
What the hell? Ushers,
What
your
is that?
microphone. Ushers, your microphone. Sort it out. All right. It's also very possible that someone was like, no, I can do this in 5 minutes. And then they ran it up the pole and then it became a whole thing. And then for a month, hundreds of thousands of dollars were spent on those lines.
That's fine, but
That's
how
also
about
very
we just do this now? How about we just do this now? Yeah, look, what's your educated guess? Which one do you think took more of an effort and cost more to make?
Lines.
I think
The lines,
surgery
cool.
scars. And I'll explain why I actually agree with Luke.
Well,
and I wasn't.
wait, hold on, Matt.
Fix it.
Which one do you think costs more to do?
Someone needs to fix their audio.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, stop.
All right. I'll say the hair, just because there's not a lot of black hair in video games.
Sorry, guys, is my audio off?
Oh my God.
I think it's your phone. It's
I think
causing
it's
some kind of.
It's definitely you, Ushers.
Yeah.
Try and say something. Ushers. Is he gone? Okay, he muted himself. All right, so Matt thinks the hair. Okay, Ushers. Maybe restart your setup or something, bro. Or disconnect your microphone and reconnect it because it's definitely on your end. No doubt it's on your end. All right, so Matt and Ty, I think the most expensive between the two was the hair.
Guys,
I
can you hear
think
me?
it was the line.
Yeah.
Yes, now
Yeah.
you sound proper. Now you sound proper. All right. So I'm just about ready to leave this topic.
Yeah, I'm feeling that. I was excited
Yeah.
to talk about Dragon Age because I'm really excited for the game, but that was something. That's fun.
It was definitely something. But before we go, Matt, give us your final thoughts on Dragon Age: The Veilguard, and then plug.
My final thoughts are, we'll find out tomorrow. My final thoughts right now are that I'm excited and I can't wait to play it.
Right now.
As for plugging my stuff, Matt likes games. You can find me on YouTube, videos every week, 2 podcasts a week. The L3R3 podcast, usually on Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern. This week it was Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern because we missed Monday. And then tonight I'll have a show with Ham Solo, the 2-player podcast, 8 p.m. Eastern on my channel. Look forward to that. And then Friday I'll be back here for Bull Sitting, 4 p.m. Eastern with Low, Cozy, hopefully Mental and Ham as well, and maybe a guest. So that's where you can find me.
Right. Ty, plug your stuff. Tell people where they can find you, and also give us your final thoughts or predictions on Dragon Age: The Veilguard.
I think Dragon Age is going to do well. It's not going to do good. It's going to meet expectations. I think BioWare can take a W from this, I think. And, hopefully they take the momentum and take it straight into Mass Effect. And Mark Dara's comments on, hey, listen, the aesthetics are going to be photorealistic and we're going to deal with mature themes instead of Dragon Age. I think that's very, very encouraging. And I mentioned Mary DeMale. She's the writer of the Days X games and the Avengers. No, sorry, the Guardians of the Galaxy games. So she, as a lead writer, and with her talent, I expect good writing. It would be disappointing if some rogue amateur writer got a hand on some important story points and wrote some kind of garbage. But I trust her enough at this point to make sure it works out well. So I think the game's going to do reasonably well. In terms of videos I'll be making, I'm doing a Star Wars video, but I'm going to do 2. But I'm also thinking about doing a Star Citizen video and two Starfield videos as well. I'm just kind of going back and forth as to which ones to start producing first. And you can find that whenever it drops on Taye Talks, TAYETALKS. And you can also find me on Twitter or X, TAYETALKS.
Nice. Ushers, tell us your final for modern audiences on. So for no one then. Anyway, Ushers, tell us what are your final thoughts on Dragon Age, and plug your stuff.
Is my audio fine now?
Yes.
Okay, now. So I think I've said enough, and I'm still gonna say more. So guys, you can just go and like, subscribe. Yeah, that's my new thing now. I think I'm gonna join the griftosphere. Because there's nothing left. I mean, like, they've killed everything I care about. So what else is there to do? Like, I might as well just join it and just sling mud like everybody else. Because at this point in time, it's pointless. Like, yeah. So my predictions for this game, it's gonna generate a lot of talk. And this is a typical BioWare thing. There's always controversy around BioWare's big releases in the last decade or so. So it's going to generate a lot of talk, a lot of conversation amongst the fandom. It's going to divide a lot of people. This is not a win for BioWare in any shape or form, because what it's going to do, it's going to make it, because EA is a popular publisher. They don't want to have to deal with this nonsense every single time a developer makes a game. I mean, Respawn makes a game, everybody likes it. BioWare makes a game, geez, it's a shit show. So I don't think this is good for BioWare. And I think going forward, you need to make your games less divisive. It's just business. You're in this for business. You're not in this for commentary. So I think on PlayStation it's going to do well. Xbox, I'm not sure, because there's not a lot of people even reviewing it for Xbox. Hence the score is so high. PC, they're going to destroy this game. This game is going to generate, like, I think, content for the next, as I said, 3 to 6 months for those guys. And it's going to start with the downvoting on Steam, and then we're going to see the crappy player numbers. And yeah, it's going to be pretty much downhill from there. Sales-wise, I'll be surprised if it does over 3 million. At best, if everything goes well for BioWare in this situation, it'll do over 5 million. But I feel that EA will still consider it a failure, because they wanted to do better than Inquisition, which sold 12 million plus, which it'll never even get close to that. Yeah, so not great. But guys, yeah, if you want to know more about the Veil Guard, I have a video up, one video so far up on Veil Guard, but I'll definitely have some more up. Just go to Oz the Wiz here on YouTube, or you can just search Osha7 and it'll bring up my profile. And I'm also just working on a fun review for one of my favorite franchises, which is Predator, because I just finished playing Predator Hunting Grounds. But guys, if you like Dragon Age, please don't let me discourage you. Go check it out. Go support BioWare. I hope they do well, even though they don't, necessarily want my money. Maybe you can help them out. So yeah.
And so the grift begins. Thank you, everyone, for coming through and watching and commenting. We really do appreciate the super chats. Dron TJ, Yodani Casada. We are very grateful for you guys' support. We also are grateful for everyone that was commenting consistently in the comment section. Y'all were popping today. You guys are the real MVPs. Thank you. Talos Ray, Chi, Vincent Vega, Ron Slasher with the sauce. Always with the sauce, Ron Slasher. the Dawn games Point Blank, PS5 blows. That's a hell of a name. Retro came in here briefly. Bunty. Who else? The Mechanic. Yago 6. Ooh, Sour Blow. Am I forgetting anyone? Sunrash and Vincent Vega. Yeah. Thank you for coming through, guys. I'm going to start making a list. I'm going to start making a list as the chat scrolls by. I'm going to start making a list of just everyone's names so I can make that quicker. But yeah, thank you for coming through, everyone. We have podcasts or streams almost every single day on TSWS. Wednesdays we do the Low-Down, me and Ham, but something special happened. Concord died yet again, so obviously we had to do something a bit different on the show today. But usually it's just the Low-Down with me and Ham on Wednesdays. Thursdays, Ham usually has a 1 hour interview or discussion with a guest on Behind Them Sticks. Tomorrow is with Mads, so that's going to be fun. Friday is the Low-Down with me, Cozy, Matt, Ham, Mental Nina, and a guest or two.
Best time of the week.
It's the best time of the week. We always set it up for 2 hours, but it ends up being like this 3-4 hours sometimes. It's wild.
Yeah.
Saturdays, Kalala streams Halo ranked, so make sure to come through. She's very good at it. Sundays we're off, but Mondays we do Everything Plus Gaming, which is a podcast where we discuss literally everything plus gaming with me, Oshus, Tae, and Ham Solo. I'm looking forward to discussing. I'm looking forward to discussing that statue, the Dwayne Wade statue. Oh my God, Monday is going to be glorious. Matt, please make sure to come through Monday if you can, please.
Tuesday, I might have to just for that, honestly.
Just for that. Tuesdays, I usually stream Football Manager, but I wasn't able to yesterday because it's going down in terms of the whole political side in Mozambique. The ruling party claims to have won. They're not letting anyone see the physical votes. The opposition party, the opposition party has done a whole bunch of demonstrations starting tomorrow until the 7th. The opposition leader has mobilized the entire youth to march on the capital, and people aren't going to work, and we're having frequent electricity and internet cuts. So it's wild. It's wild. Anyways, on Tuesdays, if I don't have anything happening locally, I stream Football Manager, and then Wednesdays again we'll do the Lowdown. So make sure to smash that like button if you liked what you saw, and if you'd like to see some more. As for us, we'll see you tomorrow on on Ham Solo's discussion with Mads about what's going on with Xbox. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.